It is his debut, although you didn't know it was going to happen. He ended his holdout of nearly 5 months this week. Worked out for 3 days. Darren Sharper said maybe he shouldn't get into play because he hasn't had much contact, but he's active for the game, not starting. And we'll see how much he does play. The Packers have won the toss. They'll get the ball first. Paul Edinger will kick off. You saw Ahmad Carroll, the rookie from the University of Arkansas, who is back along with the veteran Robert Ferguson. So Lovie Smith wanted the Packers, and now he has them. And the game is underway. It's fielded on the 10-yard line by Robert Ferguson, and Ferguson straight ahead. A good return out to the 33-yard line. The offensive line for the Green Bay Packers, and of course Brett Favre, who just about sets or breaks a team or league mark every time he gets on the field. 26 straight games with a touchdown pass is one of the many for Brett Favre.
The offensive line of the Green Bay Packers, not a dominant physical group, but very athletic, and you see right there, they have played together 31 times. That's what makes them better than many teams around the league.
And Green, along with the Ferguson driver and the tight end, Bubba Franks, is straight ahead to Ahman Green, who had a career-high 33 carries in the victory over Carolina on Monday, gets 7 yards on first down. And the Chicago Bears defense, Ron Rivera is the coordinator there, and there you see the rookie Thomas Harris starting at defensive tackle. Adewale Ogunleye, acquired from Miami, is also in the line. And
in the Lovie Smith scheme, Lance Briggs, the will linebacker, is a playmaker, but he's got one of the best in the business in the middle, and Brian Urlacher.
And there's the secondary, the swing pass on second down to Ahman Green, and he will be stopped short of the 40-yard line. No gain, and Mike Green, the strong safety, making the tackle. And we showed you the Bears secondary, and of course very strong at the safety position in Mike Brown and Mike Green, and R.W. McQuarter starting at cornerback despite an ankle injury this week on top of his longtime hamstring problem. So with no gain, it'll be third down. 3 yards to go.
This is an area that Green Bay excelled at versus Carolina last Monday night.
Showing the blitz, but not coming. And here is Brett Favre with a keeper for Ahman Green, and Green into Chicago territory. Brett Favre was the blocker, so he can still do everything at age 35, and Mike Green prevents a bigger gain after a 26-yard pickup.
And that's what this offense poses as a problem to the defense. They will run or throw on first down. The Bears have everybody walked up into the middle, and a great play call by Tom Rosley. And there's Brett Favre trying to get a block on Mike Brown right there. And Tony mentioned he's into this game. He's loose, and you can see right there, the first series, Brett Favre having a little fun today.
And Ahman Green coming off another 100-yard game. This time Tony Fisher carries, and Fisher gets a first down to the 25. Najee Davenport was injured in the opener, won't play today, but Fisher can catch and run, and he runs for 12 on first down.
And that's going to be a concern to Lovie Smith right now. The one thing he felt they had to do was come out and shut the running game down. He knows how good Brett Favre is at quarterback and what he's done in this rivalry between the Bears and the Packers. But his concern was not letting Ahman Green and Tony Fisher get on a good roll early in the game.
And Mike Sherman, with a lot of respect for Fisher, undrafted rookie from Notre Dame last year, and the quick pass to Ferguson. And the Bears are right there, and a small gain of only 3 yards on the play, bringing up a second down. Lovie Smith, and in the pregame show, Moose talked about how Lovie got it done against this Packer team when he was with Tampa Bay and then later St. Louis. Of course, he had different personnel there as well.
Yeah, it's going to take him a while. It's new to these guys, but coming here, I think when you talk about Tommy Harris, everybody's very excited about him. Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher, and then Mike Brown and Mike Green as their safeties, and those are the key components in the style of defense that Lovie has implemented.
Second down and 8, and movement, the penalty marker down, and here is Favre, and this time he is carrying the ball, and Favre goes out of bounds, will pick up the first down. If the penalty is against the Bears, it'll be declined. We saw a Chicago lineman jump. The question is, was he drawn off?
Offside, nose tackle of the defense. That penalty is declined.
And it was Alfonso Boone, the nose tackle. Bernie Kukar the referee, and the Packers will have the first down as they decline the penalty.
Guys, that hard count was so good it almost made me jump down here. Brett Favre has a weapon with his hard count, and he's going to have to be doing that all day trying to keep this defense of the Chicago Bears off balance.
Especially when they're enthusiastic and they want to really prove something early in the year. They'll get ready to jump. So it'll be first down and 10 at the 13-yard line. And here is Ahman Green. And Green again inside the 10. He was a workhorse, came out of the game. How many IVs did he have in Carolina on Monday night?
So they had 3 IVs after the game, and that's a concern. You talk to Mike Sherman, and he's worried about Ahman Green as the game wears on. He wants to keep him around 28 touches. He had 33 touches last week, and then Najee Davenport is not active today, so they've only got Tony Fisher. He'll spell him, between the 20s, but he has to be on the field in the red zone.
Second down and 7, and they are very much in the red zone where they were perfect against Carolina. And here's Green, and he is tackled at the 11-yard line by Alex Brown. So the Bears front line, a lot quicker, if not big, will bring up a third down and long for the Packers. There you see the Packers running, as they did 14 of their first 19 plays on Monday were running plays. Green comes out of the game. Fisher will come in as a receiver. It'll be third down and 7. It looked obvious. Chad Clifton, the left tackle, flinching.
Told you that hard count's tough.
Both ways.
Right. It giveth and taketh away, Goose. So now third down and longer for the Packers, as Mike Sherman, who knows how visiting teams come to Lambeau Field, and it's kind of like Notre Dame. You beat the Packers in Lambeau, it's an extra feather in your cap, and Lovie Smith wants to end the long domination, or at least start to, by Green Bay. Third and 12 on the 15-yard line. And here is Favre, and Favre completes it to Javon Walker, short of the first down, tackled at the 6-yard line for a 9-yard pickup. And Ryan Longwell looking for the field goal unit coming in, and he starts to walk on, and now will.
You talk about these pre-snap penalties, the jump by Chad Clifton right there that cost him 5 yards. Why is that a big deal at that point? Because look at where they're short. If that play prior doesn't happen, I think that's enough yards for the first down. It changes what you can do from an offensive standpoint. You saw the Bears walked up showing pressure. They just dropped back. There's too many guys in the secondary to complete those deep passes.
So Ryan Longwell attempting a 24-yard field goal, a chip shot for him, and he is good. So 2 for 2 on the year, and the Packers on their first possession jump out to a 3-0 lead over the Bears.
By Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
And welcome back to Lambeau Field. And the Green Bay Packers jumping on the Bears, taking a 3-0 lead on a Ryan Longwell field goal, as the Packers stymied by that false start, as Moose pointed out. And going back to what Lovie Smith said, he said the defense is going to have to carry this team early on. I'm very curious to see how the Bears respond on offense. Darryl Jones will be returning the kickoff. Longwell. And it's Jones on the 4. Jones running into a crowd and tackled at the 26. Jones expected to see more action as a wide receiver this week. 21-yard return, as Rex Grossman will bring out the offensive core when we come back. Rex Grossman making his 5th NFL start, and Lovie Smith doesn't want him to have to win a game on his own, but he was in that position last week and threw an interception. There's the offensive line, a good run blocking line.
David Terrell, a big breakout game last week at the wide receiver spot.
First down at the 26 for Rex Grossman, and they send the tight end Desmond Clark in motion. And on the pass caught by Dustin Lyman, the second tight end in the opening lineup, picking up 6 yards on first down. The linebacker Niall Diggs making the tackle. Defensively for the Packers with Bob Slowick, the new coordinator, and they're doing all kinds of things.
Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker. Brian Urlacher, a big fan of his style of play. Another converted safety down in the middle.
And in the secondary, Mark Roman, a big pickup from Cincinnati at strong safety. Michael Hawthorne, a good game. Remember, he playing for Mike McKenzie, who is active today. Plenty of protection for Grossman, and the pass caught by Desmond Clark. The tight end had beaten the linebacker downfield, and a big gain for the Bears, 31 yards into Packer territory.
Good job picking up the blitz on the edge. Thomas Jones, number 20. Watch, here comes Darren Sharper right there, chops him down. That gives Rex Grossman plenty of time. Nice touch over the top of Michael Hawthorne. Desmond Clark, a vertical threat from the tight end position in this scheme that Terry Shea has, and it's going to be important. Thomas Jones and Desmond Clark have to be playmakers in the offense. There again, you see Thomas Jones. Good job of getting that shoulder through Darren Sharper's thigh. Gets him down, gets his hands out of the way.
And a first down for the Bears on the Packer 36, stunning the crowd somewhat. Thomas Jones, the running back in motion, the empty backfield and the pass, and it's intended for Jones, incomplete, and it'll be second down. Last week, Bear tight ends caught only one pass between them, and already they have caught two. And remember, Tony Gonzalez, big man in Kansas City, Terry Shea using the KC offense now.
Yeah, well, you heard the guys in the pregame show talk about the fact that Kansas City didn't have a dominant wide receiver on the outside, so they utilized Priest Holmes and Tony Gonzalez at the tight end and running back position, and that's why Thomas Jones and all those guys, Desmond Clark, Justin Lyman, they're going to have to be playmakers at their spots.
Second down and 10, and the first running play, and down he goes as Thomas Jones hit by Niall Diggs. And Jones never had a chance. A loss of one on the play and a big hit by Diggs.
Niall Diggs does a good job coming underneath. He does just beats the blocks, comes back inside, and you see him get right into the hole. There's Niall Diggs right there. You see the little cross done on the outside. Missed block by number 74, Reuben Brown, turning up into the hole. He got there so quick you didn't see him.
And Mike McKenzie has come in early on the first series, and the crowd mixed reaction for McKenzie. Third down and 11, so the holdout with 3 days of practice is in there, and the quick toss nearly picked off and is on the deflection. And now they rule it an incompleted pass. Trueluck, who really can rush from the other side, coming in, and David Terrell was the intended receiver off of his hands, incomplete.
Arkel Trueluck, he's a defensive end that'll come in the obvious passing situations, rush the passer, but what Bob Slowick likes about him is he can also drop back and get into coverage. You saw right there, he was downfield covering the receivers.
So on fourth down, Paul Ettinger with a long attempt, a 55-yard field goal attempt, and it is a fake and a punt. And it is fielded by Darren Sharper, and Sharper goes out of bounds. So a fake field goal and a punt by Brad Maynard, the holder. Packers get it back, and after all of that, the Bears come up empty.
This is one of those plays that creates field position that you don't see in the box scores on Monday. Watch Darren Sharper right here. Something must have come up. It's a 55-yard field goal. You're looking for something, the key about a fake. He pulls out, drops back, and that gives him the ability to field this ball. There's Mike Gandy right there. He feels that on the 12-yard line, brings it back up to the 23. If that hits and rolls, that could get down inside the 5-yard line. So a potential change of almost 20 yards in field position by a heads-up play by Darren Sharper.
First down on the 23-yard line, and the pitch to Ahman Green outside. Green has running room. He stopped, and the Bears defense stopped, and he winds up with 14 yards. This guy is a machine, and the Packers picking up where they left off, keeping the ball on the ground effectively.
You talk about the fact that they can run the ball or pass the ball, but they can run the ball between the tackles, counter plays, and things like that. Now they get on the perimeter right away. Watch number 22, Nick Lucci, your fullback. Watch him seal the outside. He gets on the outside, and it just disappears. There is nobody out there. He gets to the outside, and Ahman Green, when he turns the corner, there is not a Bear defender on the perimeter.
Looked like Brian Urlacher underestimated his speed also, Moose. He was underneath the play on that last one.
Tony Fisher, and moving the defense several yards, picking up 6 yards on the play with Ogunleye making the tackle. And right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, a first for Mark Brunell, capitalizing on a 10-play, 53-yard drive. Naked boot, first touchdown pass as the Redskins. That to Chris Cooley. Skins up by 7. And take a look at what happens. I guess we don't have enough time. Let's take it back. There it is. Michael Vick says he can't dance. That's what he told Terry. He danced nicely there with that pass to Justin Griffith. Falcons up 7-0 as well. Hey, Dick, as you well know, you got to adjust and dance live. Back to you.
You're absolutely right, JB, but on the field, the nose tackle Alfonso Boone is shaken up for the Bears, and we will take a timeout right now. Packers 3-0, dominating even more at this point.
Here.
6:09 remaining in the first quarter. Well, this morning it was Falcons star Michael Vick, who already has made an impact today. Now it's your chance to tell us you want to see go 10 yards with TB on next week's pregame show. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN and choose from LaDainian Tomlinson. Ahman Green also a candidate, and he just carried Clinton Portis and Priest Holmes. Then tune in later today to see who was selected. Brian Urlacher on the tackle after a 1-yard pickup. These are the early leaders in the game. Brett Favre not throwing for a lot of yards, Moose. It's been Ahman Green's show.
Very similar game plan that they had against Carolina, and that was Lovie Smith's concern for Chicago, was trying to slow this running game down. But boy, you've seen them running the counter. They're going between the tackles. They're pitching it to the outside. So many ways to run the ball in this offense.
3rd and 4. The slant and a big catch made by Javon Walker, and now incomplete. He did not hold on to the ball, and what would have been a Packer first down is another punting situation for Brian Barker.
This is the thing with Brett Favre, a guy that doesn't get to throw a ball a lot now in a row, but he's putting the ball on time. And Javon Walker has to make that catch. It converts a first down. It gives you another series of plays. And if you're going to run the ball and get into these 3rd and short situations, you've got to make them count when you have an opportunity to make a play.
Veteran Brian Barker, and a good kick for Barker. R.W. McQuarters on the 13. And the Packers with good coverage knock McQuarters back. Great special teams coverage led by James Whitley. Only a 7-yard return, and so the Bears, trailing 3-0, get another chance.
By State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Hertz. It's your trip. Rent wisely.
Here at Lambeau Field, Dick Stockton along with Darryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa. 3-0 in favor of the Packers, and the Bears starting on the 20-yard line. Handoff to Thomas Jones. Jones, who scored 2 touchdowns, gets tripped up. Otherwise, he would have had a lot more. Nick Barnett making the play in the open field.
Yeah, Thomas Jones, he was going to be outside. He had a blocker on the perimeter player there. You see, they're bringing the pressure up onto this side. Chicago does a good job. They've got their run play called away from it. Come out, kick out, Al Harris. There's Thomas Jones. Nick Barnett just gets him tripped up. Here's the guy down here. He's blocked. That was almost a big running play for the Chicago Bears.
2nd down and 8. And play action for Rex Grossman. He'll never get it off. And he was down before he got rid of the ball. Niall Diggs off to a big start today for the Green Bay Packers, and a loss of 7. And it'll be 3rd and long.
The linebackers continuing to make plays. Here's Niall Diggs right here. It's kind of easy to see right there. Reuben Brown stays on the down guy too long, number 74. He's being a good teammate and helping out. But he's got to bounce back outside once he sees Niall Diggs coming on the blitz.
3rd down and 15. And Grossman getting time and open, and making the catch is Bobby Wade. So given time, Rex Grossman looks like he has the touch, Moose, and an 18-yard pickup and move the sticks.
There's 84, Bobby Wade coming to the inside, and now look, going to the corner route right there. There's something that they must have seen on film, because that's a second big play on a corner route. And there's protection again. Everybody that's coming is blocked up. And that is a good job for an offensive group, the coordination between backs, running backs, and tight end in a new system against a pressure-oriented defense.
1st down on the 33. And an open hole for Thomas Jones. And Jones bullying his way to the 45, gaining 13 yards. Thomas Jones, with his third team in his 5-year career, was with Tampa Bay last year. Began his career with the Arizona Cardinals, and Mark Roman finally bringing him down.
And this is what you do when you get that pressure. Everybody's moving up here. Now, they're all going to get on the same plane. And if you can find a way to split that gap, there's nobody. There's that gap right there that the offensive line has created with everybody getting on the same plane. Lovie Smith, he knows offensively in the running game they have to take advantage of this pressure, break some seams, and get some big chunks.
First down on the 45, and play action, and the play is blown dead. And right before, a timeout was called by David Terrell. So Terrell called a timeout just before the snap. And Lovie Jones may want to know what that was all about. So a timeout with just under 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Packers leading the.
Pretty heads-up play by David Terrell. He's right here. There's your running back, Thomas Jones. What he sees happen is both of them go in motion. This is going to be an illegal motion penalty. You see right there. He stops, calls timeout, saves the Chicago Bears 5 yards. The only other thing he could have done is just get set and not continue to move. If both of those guys would have got set and held their position, they also would have been fine.
First down and 10. Bears on their 46-yard line and rolling out and completing the pass to a wide-open Justin Lyman. The tight ends playing a big role in this first quarter, Moose. On offense for the Bears, an 8-yard pickup with Darren Sharper making the tackle as the Bears once again move into Packer territory and are 2 yards shy of the first.
Well, misdirection is another good way to get some good offensive yardage when you play a team that has so much pressure like the Packers. And they don't just pressure on third down. The one thing Mike Sherman wanted was more pressure on first and second down. Right there, they get flow moving one direction, boot out the other way, and there goes the tight end into the flat, wide open.
Second down and 2 on the 46 of the Packers. Here comes the blitz up the middle, and Grossman backing up and completing the pass to Bobby Wade, his second catch of the game, and Wade is knocked out of bounds at the 27 by Michael Hawthorne. So all the tricks and all the moves are paying off for the Bears right now.
You see all the flow goes to the left. There goes Rex Grossman back to the right. What a nice job of delivering the ball, because he's got big defensive linemen in his face. Bobby Wade downfield. You got to get that ball tucked away. Aaron Campman hustling all the way downfield. But it looks as though the Bears have found what they want to do in the passing game. If they're going to drop back into the pocket, they're going to look for that corner route. Otherwise, they're running some misdirections and moving the pocket with Rex Grossman.
19-yard pickup, and it may not always be David Terrell as the chief receiver. They got a lot of guys to go to. First down for the Bears. Thomas Jones thrown for a loss. Niall Diggs, who's having a sensational first quarter for the Packers, knocks Jones back and a loss of 2 on the play.
You talk about a blitzing defense, and a lot of people think it's only in the passing game, but when you've got all these guys moving around and you can't really figure out where they're going to be, you know, here comes pressure off the slot with Michael Hawthorne. There's Niall Diggs again from the linebacker position, feeling his way through. It just disrupts what you're trying to do, blocking the run game for the offensive lineman.
Second down and 12. Back to the 29-yard line. They show blitz again. Picked up, and Grossman's pass, and it's intercepted. Darren Sharper, with no Bear receiver in the neighborhood, picks it off inside the 5.
Going to the well one too many times right there. Terry Shea, offensive coordinator for the Bears. Hey, if you're going to keep throwing that corner route, you have to make an adjustment. Bobby Wade is downfield, but it's Darren Sharper who's going to make the play. Here he comes all the way across the formation, number 84. Rex Grossman a little bit too high, and he had a critical mistake in the game last week against the Lions when they had a chance to score the winning touchdown through an interception on third down instead of throwing the ball away, having another shot on fourth down. Right there, a costly interception that cost the Bears points.
In, guys,
and Grossman, who ended the game last week with an interception by Bracy Walker in the end zone by Detroit. Darren Sharper, 33rd career pick. And the Packers get it back on the 4-yard line. Here is Amon Green. Tell you, there's no backing in the Packers when you have an Amon Green. He gets 8 up the middle with Mike Green and Joe Odom bringing him down.
He gets the ugly yards, too. He'll have a run that doesn't look like it went for anything. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's second down and 6. You know, he gets 4 yards that looked like nothing. Right there, just the ability for him to change direction. He is in the hole, and that is the concern for the Chicago Bears defense, because with this counterplay, it can break anywhere, and they have got to be true in their assignments in this one-gap defense. They've got to make sure every hole is filled, or Ahman Green's going to find that opening.
7 carries, 59 yards for Green, and they're going to go back to Green, and the tackle is made at the 9-yard line, close to the first down. Mike Green making the tackle. A pickup of 3 on the play. So Ahman Green picking up where he left off, his 25th 100-yard rushing game against Carolina. Well on his way again today, and a timeout for a measurement to see whether the Packers have a first down.
You know, Moose, you talk about Ahman Green. This guy is a guy you have to go and gang tackle. One guy is not going to take him down. He's such a strong runner. He runs through arm tackles. You have to go and have 2, 3, 4 guys try and gang tackle this guy early to try and wear him down.
The funny thing is he's always falling forward, too, when he gets hit. And I'm not talking about yards after contact. I'm just talking about like that yard and a half every time he's tackled.
And that'll be the end of the first quarter here at Lambeau Field with the score. The Packers 3 and the Bears nothing. Start of the second quarter at Lambeau. Moose Goose, yours truly, Dick Stockton. First down for the Packers, who got the ball back on Darren Sharper's interception.
71 over here.
There's the ace linebacker, Brian Urlacher.
71.
Kevin Barry is in the game as an extra lineman up front, and a couple of injuries for the Bears that we'll tell you about. Play action for Brett Favre on first down. He's got a lot of time for Javon Walker, and Walker makes the catch. Between 2 defenders, perfectly placed, 44 yards for the old man, can still do it. I guess we know that.
That's just an unbelievable throw. He's got 2 defenders right there. There's the play action because the run game's been so effective. Bobby Gray, number 25, and Charles Tillman, number 33, are there, but that is just dropped right over the top. And Javon Walker, who dropped a slant, an easy play, makes a great catch there over the shoulder, coming straight over the top. Brett Favre, I tell you what, that is something special right there.
And as far as the Bears, Tank Johnson, the number 2 pick from Washington, in for Alfonso Boone, who came out with a knee injury. Gandy has also been replaced on the other side. Meanwhile, Donald Driver, with his first reception of the game, picks up 8.5 yards with McQuarters defending him. So the big play for Brett Favre, and as he pointed out, they had Ahman Green doing it all against Carolina, but now Favre gets into the act as he always does against Chicago.
And it's the play action. I mean, the ability, you have to respect the run. You have to respect Ahman Green. And then all of a sudden, you've got Javon Walker going 40 yards downfield. And now look at this drive. The first 15 plays, we've got 11 runs. Now we come out, we've hit 1 big pass play and followed it up with another completion.
And the pitch to Ahman Green. Green breaks a couple of tackles. Yeah, you're right, Tony. You got to gang tackle him. 1 or 2 guys grasping it won't get it done, as he's down at the 25 by Tommy Harris.
He'll take your shoulder right out of the socket if you let him.
The surprising thing is when you see him, you don't expect him to have that much power and that much strength. There's Mark Tauscher out in front, Nick Lucci. Those are some big bodies out in front of him. Watch right here, though. He's got that little gap, and as he bursts through, that's Tommy Harris, a defensive tackle that gets a hold of his jersey, and he just drags him 4 more yards down the field.
So the Packers now on the Bears' 25-yard line, and here is Ahman Green. And Green gets a couple of yards, and right now for a game break, let's rejoin James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, Carolina trying to rebound from last week. Take a look at Delhomme, spun around by Monty Beasley, throws it up for grabs. Guess who's there? Chris Mangum, just like the coaches drew it up, and Carolina on top, 7-3, that in the first. Back to Dick, Daryl, and Tony.
These quarterbacks from Louisiana, they have no fear of throwing that ball into areas. Brett Favre historically has always had that down in the southern part, down when he was at Southern Miss. And Jake Delhomme reminds you a lot of him. He's not afraid to try and put the ball in a spot that the coaches cringe when it comes off his hand.
Well, Panthers playing shorthanded and taking the lead in KC. Pretty good work. And the handoff to Fisher, and Fisher is down, a loss of about 3 yards on the play. And that was Michael Haynes, rangy defensive lineman, at a loss of 3 yards. For Fisher, right now, as far as run and pass, the Packers have run 14 times and passed 6.
Defensive coordinator Ron Rivera right there. this is going to have to be the group that carries this team right now, and they've got their hands full this afternoon. You see them; they've come off the goal line in this drive. This drive started back at the 4-yard line, so you expect run. And what's the first thing that Green Bay does? They go for a home run with Brett Favre and jumpstart this entire drive.
Third down and a little more than 10 from the 25, and there is Favre dumping it off to Tony Fisher, and Fisher has stopped. Bears doing a terrific job of short-circuiting the Packer drive when they had the momentum going on that big pass to Walker. Loss of 1 thanks to R.W. McQuarters. So it is 4th down, and Ryan Longwell will come on to try the field goal. Remember that this drive started at the 4-yard line after Sharper had intercepted Grossman. And so now it'll be Longwell with a 45-yard attempt. Was good from 25 in the first quarter. And this is going to be close. No, it hit the upright and bounced onto the field. You could see he was pushing it a bit, and it managed to hit the upright. So the field goal no good. Bears get A's on the defensive effort.
The right technology right away. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Bears-Packers 168th meeting. If you count the Chicago Staleys, that was the Bears' name back in 1921. First down. Up the middle is Thomas Jones. Jones with a great burst of running, but Moose, he's getting an opening off the left side. Picks up 19.
They're doing what they had to do. Here comes the blitz again. You're going to see him kind of cross in the middle. There goes Niall Diggs to the left, and here comes Hannibal Navy's Nick Barnett right here. He gets caught up in the wash. That ball is going to break all the way back that way. He can't get back into that void, and that's what they're going to have to do when these guys are putting all this pressure up front, getting on that same plane. They've got to break some big runs, and they are very excited about Thomas Jones. This could be, you know, sometimes a change of scenery is what a guy needs, and I really think that that's going to be the case for Thomas Jones in Chicago.
Third time may be a charm for him. You're right. Had a career-high 2 touchdowns last week. First down into Green Bay territory, and a good catch made by Brian Johnson, the fullback, who was acquired by trade from the Washington Redskins, and the Bears, lo and behold, get another first down, 14-yard pickup. This is a different Chicago Bear defense than what we've seen, isn't it?
Well, you know, offensively, they're going to try and get down the field vertically. It's not going to be that controlled passing game we saw with John Shoup. We've already seen evidence of that to this point, some deep corner routes, but, you know, they'll come back and hit the little flat route to the fullback. There's a lot of different things they're doing. And let me tell you, I played in a system similar to what they're implementing here. It is very effective when all these guys find out how exactly they fit into it.
3 wide receivers at the top of the picture, but Thomas Jones gets the call, and a good tackle made by Nick Barnett. And Jones held to a 1-yard gain. Right now, for a game break, let's go back to Los Angeles and James Brown. Jamie.
All right, take a look at this. Hey, Dick, this looks like the old Kurt Warner play action. Look at this laser here. 38-yard pass to Tim Carter. That in the Meadowlands knocks it up with the Redskins at 7. Michael Vick's exciting 14-yard run sets up this 2-yard touchdown run by Warren Dunn. 14-0 Atlanta back to Dick Stockton.
Atlanta continues to roll, JB, and on second down, the end around to Bobby Wade, and Wade being chased by the cornerback Al Harris going out of bounds, but the Bears pick up another first down. Moose, this is a very entertaining Chicago offense compared to recent years. Razzle and dazzle, to say the least.
Well, especially when you're playing against a team that pressures as much as Green Bay does. You know, there were some estimates that they blitzed 80% of the plays against Carolina last week. And if you're going to be that aggressive on first and second down, then you're also going to be able to do things like that with reverse. Get people moving, get them flowing, and then all of a sudden you change direction.
Terry Shea, very successful as the quarterback's coach in Kansas City. They rolled up a lot of points. First down and 10 on the 18-yard line. And here is Jones with the carry, picks up a couple of yards on first down.
Chicago's just got up. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, no, I was just saying the defensive line is doing a not that great of a job. There's some gaping holes in the middle. And what happens is all these secondary guys and linebackers start feeling that they have to help the guys out in the middle where the holes are. They start worrying about their own, stop worrying about their own responsibility. And that's why you're seeing so many good runs up the middle and on the edge.
All right, Tony, there you see the red zone story last week for the Bears. By the way, Mike McKenzie is in for Hawthorne at cornerback. He was the starter in that position. Second down and 8. Thomas Jones going in motion. empty backfield, and the pass is overthrown, looking for Bobby Wade.
Cullen Jenkins did a great job on that play, swimming the guy on the cross side, getting his hands up. Rex couldn't see over him and just threw that ball right out where no one was.
There's Cullen Jenkins right there in the middle. You see the quick swim right there. Gets in, gets that hand up like Tony said. He's got to put a little bit more loft on it, and then all of a sudden it's over the head of the receiver in the flat.
And it's 76 degrees. It is warm enough for a quick swim today. Early in the year in Green Bay.
You wouldn't expect to be able to swim in middle of September down in Green Bay.
Better than ice fishing.
Right. 3rd and 8 out of the shotgun, something you didn't see in the last regime. 3rd down and 8, and Grossman getting time, and the flag is down, trying to go to Bobby Wade on and out, but a penalty marker down in the defensive backfield.
Could be our rule emphasis on illegal contact by the defense, and this can happen away from the ball.
Illegal contact, 21 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's exactly right, Darrell. Bao Ju called for illegal contact after 5 yards. They're watching it very closely and trying to open up the game for more offense, frankly.
And it can happen away from where the ball was intended. As long as the quarterback is still in the pocket and the ball has not been thrown, they can throw it. You can see right there, Bao Ju just a little push on the receiver as he passes him by, but it's beyond 5 yards, and you can't do that. They all know it. We know what happened during the preseason.
Justin Gage was the receiver, and now Thomas Jones started out as a wide receiver coming in the backfield, and here is Grossman. Grossman completes it to the fullback, and he gets in for the touchdown. Brian Johnson with his 2nd catch on the drive, and the Bears have taken a 6-3 lead. An 11-yard touchdown pass for Grossman.
I tell you, this is such a good design play. All the receivers clear right there. There goes Brian Johnson, but look at everybody run with Thomas Jones. Thomas Jones runs on a flat route. You see him, he's going to come across. He's on the motion. Here he goes. Now watch everybody run this way with him when he comes out. And there goes Brian Johnson right in. You got 3 Packer defenders who chased him into the flat area.
And Paul Edinger with his unorthodox style, kicking the extra point, and the Bears taking a 7-3 lead. So here the Packers going 72 yards and getting nothing in their last possession. The Bears make it count and take a 7-3 lead. Rex Grossman, his first touchdown pass of the season to fullback Brian Johnson. And the Bears with a 65-yard scoring drive, and right today they're using running backs, they're using tight ends, several tight ends. And the kickoff by Edinger, and it's taken by Ahmad Carroll, rookie from Arkansas, takes it out to the 31-yard line. 14-yard return by Carroll. Brett Favre always seems to have an answer when people score on the Packers. We'll see.
Guys, you talk about Rex Grossman, how he's doing such a great job back there, but it's really his offensive line. If you take a look at this play, right in front of him, he goes and has a huge gaping hole, not only for the run, but for the pass. Rex is not a real tall guy, but he can go and stand right in there in the pocket when he has no one in front of him. It's such an easy throw to his fullback right there and get the touchdown.
Packers with a first down on the 31, and here is Amon Green. And Green with picking up 7 or 8 on first down. Seems automatic for Amon Green, who has now gained 80 yards in 11 carries. Lance Briggs, the linebacker, making the stop for Chicago.
It's strange. I mean, it doesn't look like anything special. You get up, you turn around, you're walking back to the huddle, you glance up at the board, and you're in great position. It's 2nd and 3. I mean, it's just amazing. Nothing glamorous, but just great hard-nosed running the football.
And it's perfect for Brett Favre, who he can pass or run. This time they call run, and the Bears are there to snuff it out. Brian Urlacher seeking out Green, and a no gain on the play. And it'll be 3rd down and short.
And this is what I'm talking about when Amon Green finishes a run. This is Brian Urlacher. Okay, he's going to come up. He's going to meet him right in the hole, right here. And look who goes forward. Amon Green. He's sneaky strong. I mean, you're talking, look at that. That is perfect form by Brian Urlacher. He can't do it much better, but he is so strong in his hips. He just lunges forward and gets that extra 1.5 yards.
3rd down and 2, 4 wide receivers. There's that hard count, but the Bears got back. Short drop, and the pass to the out, caught by Robert Ferguson. First down at the 45, and for another game break, again, here's James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, it was a pass interference call on Carolina that gave Kansas City the ball at the 1, making it way too easy for Priest Holmes with his 4th touchdown of the season, and Kansas City up by 3 in the second. Back to Dick Stockton.
All right, JB, and of course, talking to Terry Shea yesterday, he says we're looking for a Priest Holmes type, and he says we always tracked Jones, Thomas Jones, when he was in Kansas City, now with the Bears.
Yeah, Priest coming off that hip injury, they weren't sure if he was going to be able to be 100%, so they had looked at Thomas Jones as a possible replacement then.
First down, going deep for Donald Driver, and the Bears were closer, and we have an interception. Mike Green returning it for Chicago. And Mike Green with the interception, and the Bear bench seeing the defense playing big here, throwing it up for grabs, it seemed. Favre going for Driver.
He's trying to make a big play all the way downfield for Driver, but Mike Green knows it. He gets back, makes a heck of a catch for the interception.
At last, you can watch the greatest Star Wars battles on DVD.
And right now, the Green Bay Packers have just challenged this non-call in which Mike Green, making an interception, was really down by contact, ran it back 39 yards, and Bernie Kukar will announce it.
Is challenging the ruling on the field. They feel the receiver was down by contact.
And they have a good case. They waited a long time before throwing it.
There goes Mike Green. He extends right there to make the catch. Maintains possession all the way through. That's just a great job on the catch. And then Donald Driver, as he goes over the top, makes contact with Mike Green. Now, during the break, we're going to look right here. There's the contact, and he doesn't have to down him. He just got to make contact with him. Now, during the break, the fans, everybody in the stadium is waiting for the replay, but they went to a thing where we got updates from around the league, and everybody is waiting and waiting and waiting, and all we got was highlights from Atlanta. And
it's like going to JB.
Yeah, we got a game break from JB up on the board, and they never got a chance to see it until right before they came out. They finally ran the replay, and then they were able to get the flag out before everything started. But boy, that was you could see everybody in this crowd just like, please, somebody put the replay up, because I think that guy was down by contact.
And what a difference it is for Mike Sherman's Packers, down by contact at the 4 versus a 39-yard return, and the Bears get good field position. And I don't know what Mike Sherman is shaking his head about. It could be a lot of things at this point with his team down 7-3 to the Bears. But Bernie Kukar, looking at the replay, he will make the decision. And, the new rule is if you are successful on the first 2 challenges, you will get a 3rd challenge, provided you still have a timeout remaining.
And I think the coaches are going to become more conservative with their challenges because of that. If you can go 2 for 2, and we saw it in our game last week against Philadelphia, by not challenging a play that Terrell Owens said he had caught, Andy Reid kind of gave him a little wink and said, yeah, whatever. And then he held that second one, used it later in the game, and was successful. So he got another one, and that 3rd one that he used was able to negate a fumble that they had called, which could have been a big momentum changer.
And I said this was a non-call as far as down by contact. They called the fact that it was still a free play for Green to get up and run.
Once this play goes under review, the entire play is under review also. But Mike Green does such a good job. That is an interception, but they could be looking at the fact, does he possess the ball all the way through the catch, and does it not come loose when he hits the ground? You can see right there, that is an outstanding interception by Mike Green.
His 2nd in as many weeks, and his 3rd of his career. Picked off 1 against Joey Harrington last week in the opener at Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions. And here comes Bernie Kukar.
After reviewing the play, the interceptor was down by contact at the 6-yard line. Please, timer, put 5:45 on the clock. There is no charge time. Green Bay.
So it was the 6, and that makes a huge difference, as the Bears now will be backed up on their own 6-yard line. Nonetheless, Brett Favre throwing his first interception of the season, and the Bears leading 7-3 with 5:45 to go in the second half.
That effectively becomes a punt. With that ruling right there, that's what makes that such a huge challenge by Mike Sherman. I mean, your first and 10 at the 45 or first and 10 at the 6, that just becomes a well-executed punt by the Green Bay Packers.
As long as Driver got a piece of them.
Exactly.
First and 10 at the 6-yard line, and Jones tripped up at the line of scrimmage, maybe gets a yard, and Niall Diggs once again, 1-yard pickup for Jones.
Brian Johnson's got to keep his head up, because you can see the blitz coming off the edge. He's got to be aware of it. Here comes the blitz off the edge here. Brian Johnson has got to see that in his stance, feel that in his stance. As he goes out to make his block, he loses the upfield leverage on him, and Al Harris is almost able to come in and make the tackle, but he forces the play.
Second down and 9, 2 tight ends, play action, Grossman in his end zone, and the pass nearly intercepted, nearly picked off, intended for Desmond Clark, and Al Harris was in front of Clark and very nearly had the pick.
I really feel that this Green Bay Packer defense needs to kind of back off a little bit on their pressure right now. It looks as though Chicago is one step ahead of them. They found some areas with moving the pocket, running some bootlegs. Their protection has been very sound. They have made some big plays. If I was Bob Slowick, I'd back off a little bit down here, bait them into it, walk everybody up, and then back out, see if you can get some miscommunication and get a free pick that way.
Third down and 9. At worst, the Packers looking for a good field position if Grossman doesn't get the first down. And his pass downfield, incomplete. Going after it was Darryl Jones, and Mike McKenzie getting a hand on it and paying early dividends in his return to a Packer uniform. Fourth down, and the punter, Brad Maynard, will have to kick from the end zone.
Darryl Jones does a nice job at the end of that play, though, becoming the defender in that situation, because that's a little bit overthrown. Mike McKenzie's in good position for that pick, and he goes up and bats it away.
You know, Moose, you talk about pressure. The one thing the Green Bay defense has to do is get pressure in base defense. They can't rely on stunts and blitzes just to get pressure. They have to get it.
And that's exactly right, as the line drive kick fielded by Antonio Chapman. Chapman with a head of steam getting down to the 40-yard line. Good return for the low line drive kick. It did go 52 yards, but a 19-yard return by Chapman. And the Packers in business. But Tony, your point is absolutely right. In fact, Darryl was talking about too many blitzes. You find openings, and the Bears were taking advantage.
You've got to be able to generate pressure with your front four. The point that Tony's trying to make, you can't rely on sending 7 and 8 guys to get the quarterback unnerved in the pocket.
Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. It all begins with America's #1 pregame show, and then Donovan McNabb and the Eagles take on the Detroit Lions, and then the big matchup, Favre and Manning, as these Packers take on the Colts. Rolling out on a fake, and the shovel pass to William Henderson, and the Bears finally bring down the Packer fullback Henderson inside the 30, but not before he picks up 13 yards. Odom downfield, and always when you're looking everywhere else, William Henderson comes up with a big play.
Yeah, he was supposed to have been replaced in the lineup by Nick Lucci for the last couple of years, but he just keeps on doing his thing. And I tell you what, he does not get enough credit. It's tough in the NFC now. You've got some good fullbacks with Fred Beasley in San Francisco and Corey Schlesinger up in Detroit. William Henderson has been very, very good for a long time for the Packs.
First down on the 28 of the Bears. And here's Green. Green getting inside the 25. And Mike Brown and Mike Green after a 4-yard pickup. And when you hear in the background the Bears yelling 71, that is for Kevin Barry, the defensive tackle who goes in as a tight end. They call it the U71 formation for protection or as an eligible receiver.
And they have thrown some passes off of that personnel group. But, you know, haven't gotten Kevin Barry down the field yet to catch a pass, but they have thrown it out of that situation. You know, he's probably going to Tom Rosley saying, hey, when we get down in that red zone, we got to come up with something where Brett boots out and throws it to me in the end zone.
This is a simple handoff to Ahman Green, who will be 2 yards or so short of the first down. We have under 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Brett Favre, very accurate 8 for 10. The one interception, as you pointed out, did not hurt the Packers. In all intents and purposes, a punting situation. But you have to say the Bears have done a solid job, and they've done a solid job in the red zone defensively.
They really have. They have. The Pack has gotten down here a couple of times, but only 3 points to show for it right now.
3rd and 2. Here is Green. Green will get the first down, and he drags Ogunleye with him. So it'll be a first down inside the 15 after the 7-yard pickup by Ahman Green.
The confidence that they have in their offensive line and their running game. We saw last week against Carolina that 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, they're running the football for the first down, and it's because of this guy. And watch him let the play develop in front of him. As soon as he sees that hole, right there, he explodes right through. Look at him get his shoulders square. And again, running through arm tackles and always falling forward after contact.
Think he'll get 100 today? Well, we have 2:20 remaining in the half. He has 95 already. First down on the 13-yard line, a chance for more. And there's the patience again. He's got over 100. And more important, appears to have a first down for the Packers as he is driven out of bounds. Mike Wall with a terrific tackle, the left guard for the Packers. They come back intact. One of the better, I don't know if you could say underrated offensive lines in the league.
Just a great job of play calling by the Packers right now, because what this Bear defense does, they like to penetrate and get upfield on the inside, and what they're doing now is running on the perimeter. They're getting the ball out on the edge very quickly, and there is a ton of space for Ahman Green once he turns that corner.
And there is the 2-minute warning and the 26 100-yard game for Ahman Green. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Ahman Green's 26th 100-yard game ties Jim Taylor's club record, but the Packers are thinking 6 right now. They have a first and goal at the 2-yard line. Looking to regain the lead, and here's Green, hit, fumbles, and it's picked up by Mike Brown. Mike Brown picking up Ahman Green's fumble and may go all the way. 95 yards for the touchdown. No penalty flag back. And it was Brian Urlacher who hit Green in the backfield, lost the ball, and Brown recovers it and scores. What a shocker.
What a big turnaround. The Bears had a turnaround like this go against them last week in Detroit on a blocked field goal. Ahman Green going in. There's Brian Urlacher, strips it loose, and then there's Mike Brown to scoop and score right there. Brett Favre tries to get out there to force him back to the middle. But look at the Bear defenders all get downfield to block all the Packers off. What a great job of hustle.
And Ahman Green, who fumbled a lot in the first 7 games last year, losing 5 out of 7, and then did not fumble the rest of the way. But the Bears elated on the 95-yard return of the fumble. And Paul Edinger for the extra point. And the kick is good, and the Bears lead 14-3 when it looked like the Packers were going in to regain the lead. Not so fast, Soldier.
Teen years and are just playing outstanding right now.
Antonio Chapman returning the kickoff, and he is stopped after crossing the 15-yard line. And it's still early, but you can it's palpable that you can sense the Chicago Bears are a cohesive team, and they're an aggressive team making hits. And there is the hero, Mike Brown, who returned the second longest fumble return in team history, and that's a long history. And it was George Halas himself back in 1923 who returned a fumble 98 yards. We covered that game, I think.
It must have been somebody else.
Oh, I think we were there. You were there. I might have been kind of young at the time. First down for the Packers on the 17. Pump fake by Favre, and this one is caught. And the pass caught by Bubba Franks. And a gain of 9. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats. 2nd and 1, the slant, perfect. First down, Javon Walker, and in 2 plays, the Packers are up to the 44-yard line.
That's what you got when you have Brett Favre as your quarterback, and they have been very effective running the ball, controlling the flow of the game. But now they're in that 2-minute situation, and you can see the other dimension that this offense has that poses problems for the defense. Brett Favre just getting back and turning the ball loose.
And the Packers call their first timeout. Remember, they challenged the ruling on the field, and the challenge was upheld, so no timeout was called against Green Bay. So there's Javon Walker, who caught only one pass last week against the Carolina Panthers, but you know he's going to be more of a producer this week. Well, this week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, 2 teams fight for position in the race for the National League wild card as the Cubs take on the Mets, or the Astros battle the Brewers, or the National League West leading Dodgers take on the rival Giants, who right now are climbing up 2.5 behind the Dodgers. Coverage begins 1 Eastern and Pacific next week. 1st and 10 at the 44, and the quick toss up the middle, and the deflected incomplete off the head of Donald Driver, and it stops the clock at 1:06, bringing up 2nd and 10.
The Bears bringing a little bit of their pressure now, bringing it on the left side, and Donald Driver doesn't get his head turned around quick enough, picks it up late. You see it bounce off right there. Mike Brown almost just a step away from having another touchdown, because there was nobody in front of him. That ball deflected into the empty part of the field.
Bears in front 14-3, and the Packers want to get some points before intermission. 2nd down and 10. They spread it out with 3 wide receivers. Tony Fisher is in the backfield. Favre drilling it, tipped, nearly intercepted again. That was Lance Briggs, the linebacker, trying to anticipate, got in front of Javon Walker, and he very nearly had an interception.
Oh, you talk a lot about Brian Urlacher in this defense, but the will linebacker is also a playmaker, and that's Lance Briggs right here. You're going to see him. He's played against the Packers enough. He knows some of these routes, and you see right there, what a great jump on the ball. Reading the eyes of the quarterback, almost comes down with an interception.
So it's a little nerve-wracking time for the Packers in this first half. Brett Favre and a team that normally scores a lot of points, facing 3rd down, and the pass broken up. Great play. Donald Driver hit by Mike Green, who does a big job. So Green, who has an interception today, I tell you, those safeties playing big for the Bears.
Well, that's 3 consecutive plays. There's Mike Green right there. He's actually coming out of that mix. He was down in the box as that 8th man that this defense likes to use, but he releases out, gets into the throwing lane. That was 3 very close calls for the Green Bay Packers on interceptions.
Moose, I've never heard Lambeau Field as quiet as I hear it round. Brian Barker will kick for the 2nd time. R.W. McQuarters will let it bounce.
Oh, what a great play.
And let's see if they rule it.
Oh, he ruled his foot down on the line.
Yes, touchback. Ahmad Carroll trying to save it, but the official was right there, and Carroll's foot apparently on the line, and it goes as a touchback.
Ruling on the field is a touchback.
Yeah, he's on the line right there. You saw his foot just as he leapt up. What great timing, though. Anticipation. Great effort by Ahmad Carroll right there. He sees the ball bounce. He tries to gather his steps. He tries to break it down so he can get his foot down before stepping on the line. But you see right there, there's his foot. He is on the goal line, goes into the end zone.
Pretty tough because you can't look down, and you've got to go for the ball, and so you're just hoping you don't step on the line. So it's the Bears with 49 seconds to go, leading 14-3. Thomas Jones up the middle would have had more yards were it not for Nick Barnett and a pickup of 5.
He might have had a lot more, but he was just a step away from splitting it right up the middle of the defense. I don't know what Green Bay did on that call, but they vacated the entire middle of the defense, and the Bears just slipped Thomas Jones right into the middle of that vacated spot.
And the Packers call a timeout. Well, you know, this is Sunday and it's game day, but you know, Tony Siragusa makes his travels before Sunday. The goose is loose. Let's see where he was in Green Bay this weekend.
I was in the green dot. Ooh, stuck.
Well, that was at the Packer Arcade near Lambeau Field, and it's been an arcade for the Chicago Bears in this first half. Handoff to Thomas Jones, gets tripped up, and you can see how close he was to the first down, picking up 4 yards. Once again, it's Barnett. two big components of the Bears defense, Mike Brown and Brian Urlacher, as the clock continues to run under a half a minute to go. Packers had used their second timeout moments ago, will not use another one. The Visa halftime report is coming up, and intermission as well. Well, a stunner here, especially in the last series when the Packers apparently were going in, and the fumble returned by Mike Brown for the touchdown, a 14-3 lead. So really a shockingly silent crowd here at Lambeau Field as the teams leave with the Chicago Bears in front. And you know there'll be adjustments during the intermission as well. Ryan Longwell accounting for the only points for the Packers. It's the end of the first half. 14-3 the Bears lead. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Visa halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Them is to be because the Packers were so impressive Monday. They've got the Colts next week, and I think Mike Sherman was a little worried about this being a trap game, even though it was the traditional Bears in between.
Well, that's what happens when you have a team that's had dominance over a number of years. It's kind of hard to get the players motivated, even with a new regime with Lovie Smith and a change of direction and philosophy. You play that great game Monday night. You're on a short week. You got Indianapolis the next week on the road. Very easy for Green Bay to come out here. Maybe not the same emotion they took the field with down in Carolina.
And a lot of the fans are saying, hey, our big rivals are the Minnesota Vikings. They don't go back as much, but right now the Vikings and the Packers are the teams really fighting it out in the NFC North.
Yeah, well, you can worry all you want about all those other teams. Right now they got to worry about the Bears because they played very well in the first half. The one thing they did that they've been struggling with for the last few seasons, generating turnovers and then also getting the points with Mike Brown scooping up that fumble and taking it back.
Well, Lovie Smith right now looking okay, although big 30 minutes left, and that the number one goal when he came to Chicago was to beat the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers have won 7 in a row against the Bears and 20 of their last 23. In fact, it almost coincides with Brett Favre, who has a 20-4 record against Chicago. And keep in mind, he has yet to throw a touchdown pass against Chicago, has thrown at least one in all 24 games he's played. So that bears watching. Bears will get the ball first to start the second half. Ryan Longwell kicking it off to Darryl Jones at the goal line. Former New York Giant turns his back on the defense and then winds up with a few yards. Right now, let's take a look at the halftime statistics.
Well, you can see right there the Bears, a team that struggled with both penalties and turnovers. They create 2 with their defense, but look what they're doing with the penalties. No penalties in the first half, just a well-played, well-executed half by the Bears, both sides of the ball.
And for the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. That's the fantasy update. Bears starting from the 21-yard line. And the fake end around, and Grossman gets hit, gets it off to Thomas Jones, and Jones trying to thread through the defense, and James Lee, the nose tackle, is starting in place of the injured Grady Jackson, and that was a big minus for the Packers coming into today, and a 7-yard pickup, and it looked like Lee got shaken up a bit.
Yeah, he doesn't look 100% getting back to the defensive huddle, and they cannot afford to have James Lee go out because, as you mentioned, they're already thin there.
Picking up 7 yards, 2nd down and 3. Again, 2 tight ends line up for the Bears. Jones short of the first down as he is stopped at about the 30 by Lee, the nose tackle. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Bears. Thomas Jones scoring 2 touchdowns last week and 67 yards rushing. So Jones is the number 1 tailback. Anthony Thomas, who missed all of preseason with a torn oblique muscle, they can use him as a change of pace. Packers tightening up on 3rd and 1. They go to Jones. He finds an opening, and Thomas Jones racing for the end zone. One man has a shot, and that is Al Harris, who makes the grab. So on a 3rd and 1 and a tight formation, Thomas Jones bursts forward for 54 yards, and it's 1st down at the 16.
Well, they've got everybody packed in the middle. Here's where do you see all the down blocks, the angles created? There's your key block right there on Nick Barnett. And again, we talked about Ahman Green's patience. Great patience by Thomas Jones right there. And then the hustle, by Al Harris. He's on the opposite side of the field. Here comes 31. Look at him run him down from the other side of the field. Great hustle, Al Harris.
And Jones with 100 yards even on 12 carries. And it'll be first down for the Bears on the Packers 16. And they go again to Jones and another first down. Thomas Jones, the tailback, going up the middle as if the Bears defense not even there, getting 11 yards.
Well, the Packers had everybody up in the defensive front on the long run on the 3rd and short. Here they're playing kind of a standard set. Nick Barnett right there. He's going to overrun this play, and the vision of Thomas Jones now to be able to get backside on him right there.
Talk about how quiet it was before intermission. Now it's kind of frustration echoing down here at Lambeau. And the handoff is to Jones, getting down and to the 1-yard line. And in the end zone.
I think he fumbled into the end zone.
Fumbled in the end zone. No signal is given. And the official coming up, placing a mark down at the 1-yard line or half-yard line. So no touchdown. And let's see whether he did indeed fumble or was down by contact. Lost the ball. All he had to do was cross the plane, but he had to have possession in crossing the plane, and he did not.
Yeah, and he was down by contact, so it is not a fumble.
What it is second down and goal, about a foot away. And there is the touchdown by Thomas Jones, capping what has been almost a one-man gang on that offensive drive, getting 54 yards and then a 1-yard run and really shredding the Packer defense.
Well, what happened there, Green Bay thought they saw somebody move. Look at Darren Sharper, number 42 over here, number 23, Darren Sharper, and 42. They're pointing, trying to get him. Here comes Darren Sharper into your screen. They thought that they had moved. They all stand still at that point, and the Bears continue to finish the play.
So strange happenings here at Lambeau Field, and the Packers trying to avoid a huge setback, but the Bears have taken a 21-3 lead on Edinger's extra point. A 6-play, 79-yard scoring drive, and it's Mr. Jones. And this crowd is stunned, and you have to be. And Thomas Jones with his 4th career 100-yard rushing game, 2nd time against the Packers. As you look at the scoring drive, you know, he caught a 7-yard pass as well. He counted for every yard in that scoring drive. Ahmad Carroll, flag is down, and Carroll is tackled at the 25-yard line. Well, if any team can come back from that kind of a deficit with the likes of a Brett Favre, the Green Bay Packers can do it. But they have given no indication. The Bears' defense has been big.
Holding 21 of the offense during the run back.
It's Bauju.
10 yards, first down.
Now, the big thing that Green Bay can't do right now is panic. You mentioned the fact that they've got Brett Favre, but you got to stay with the game plan. Keep pounding them on Green at that front.
Well, Brett Favre trying to lead the Packers back, and a good point by Moose before the break, and that is that you don't want to necessarily panic. You have a lot of time left and abandon the running style, which has worked so far, and he's not on first down. Ahman Green gets a couple of yards, but there's no question that Brett Favre has excelled against the Chicago Bears, and all of these marks, career bests against the Chicago Bears, including a 20-4 record. But then you have to look at the flip side. Lovie Smith has had success with the teams he's been against this club.
Well, you know, the one thing that I had forgotten about was this defense was constructed in Tampa Bay with Tony Dungy and Herman Edwards and Lovie Smith and a number of other coaches to stop Green Bay, to shut down Brett Favre, because if Tampa Bay wanted to achieve what they were going to do, they had to knock the Pack off back in the early and mid-90s. The same task that Lovie Smith talks about in Chicago now.
And the handoff to Ahman Green, and that's what the Packers like to do. They like to spread the defense and hand off as they do to Green for the first down. Ryan Urlacher making the tackle. Green had 103 yards at the half, now 113, but a critical fumble. So the Packers seemingly heading for a touchdown to regain the lead. Instead, the Packers found themselves trailing by more, and now it is 21-3. Favre on the out, completing to Donald Driver, and another first down. So the key ingredients for Lovie Smith and down through the years that you talked about.
When they built it at Tampa Bay, it's the guy up front, Warren Sapp, then Derek Brooks, that weak side linebacker, and then John Lynch, their safety. You know, those were the components. And then when he moved on to St. Louis, Brian Young took Warren Sapp's spot, Tommy Polley, their weak side linebacker, and Adam Archuleta, the guy who would come down in the mix there. Now here at Chicago, he's got Tommy Harris, who he drafted in the first round, Lance Briggs, and Mike Green. But he's also got Mike Brown and Brian Urlacher. So he's maybe got a little bit more right now than he's ever had at some positions.
And this pass thrown over the head of Nick Lucci coming out of the backfield, bringing up 2nd down and 10. But, you know, you always say, sure, it was, as you look at Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, sure, it was easy for Lovie Smith when he developed players like that. But now he has new players. But it seems that the system, at least what we've seen today, seems to be working.
And it's all built on trust. It's a one-gap philosophy where everybody does their job, and the ball carrier will be forced to the blocked man. And then he has to make the tackle. Tackling is very critical in this style, this philosophy. But if these guys buy into it, you've seen the success that both Tampa Bay and St. Louis have had in this system.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Green cutting upfield, stopped shy of the first down by 1.5 yards. 9-yard pickup. Wally Ogunleye making the tackle. Ogunleye acquired in a major trade from the Miami Dolphins. 15 sacks last year, leading the AFC, a speed pass rusher. Marty Booker went to Miami, and Booker has had success against this Green Bay club. 3rd down and 1. And here's Green with the first down. So you said it, and underscoring your points again, to be patient. Couple of passes, keeping the ball on the ground, and a 3rd first down.
You just don't want to get away from your game plan, and yet you're down by 18 right now, but there's plenty of time, and this is where their strength is. And you see the athleticism and the power and all these guys, and then Ahman Green just moving the pile forward, but you don't want to panic. This is a veteran group, a great coaching staff. They know what it is. There's going to be a sense of urgency now, but there's no panic in this Green Bay Packer team.
They're up to their own 47-yard line, very quietly moving the ball, and now taking a shot downfield for Ferguson, and overthrown, coverage by R.W. McQuarters. So a couple of short passes, getting first downs, keeping Ahman Green, and then getting the chance to go deep. But incomplete, 2nd and 10.
And you get out near midfield, and that's the area that a lot of offensive coordinators in the league will take their shot vertically to try and hit that big play. You've just dug yourself out of a hole. You've worked efficiently out to this point in the field, and hey, let's take a shot right now and see if we can get a big chunk of yards.
You know, Moose, yesterday when we talked to Lovie Smith, the biggest thing that he was concerned about was gap control. He stressed that over and over again. And when you look at the Chicago's defense, they have gap control. But you look at Green Bay, the gaps are wide open all over the field, and obviously you can see the difference on the scoreboard.
Javon Walker on the reception, Goose, after the blitz, and Favre picking it up. Mike Green making the tackle and a 9-yard pickup. And right now the Packers inexorably moving the ball. Still a lot of time, 8:10 to go in the 3rd. And they now have the ball at the 44-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 1 yard. Javon Walker, as you look at Favre's numbers, since the first quarter, Walker has 4 catches for 80 yards. Fisher diving and very close. Brett Favre, everyone talking about, well, how many more years is he going to go? It is a first down for the Packers. When will he retire? It looks like that Brett Favre, but when we talked to him yesterday, still has that twinkle in his eye, and it looks like he loves the game more, and I think that retirement has to be on the back burner for him now.
I think Mike Sherman did a great thing this year in camp. He didn't make him go 2-a-days all the time. He gave him a day off here and there. He didn't make him go to the meetings every night. He cut him loose, you know, at some point. It kept him fresher. He wanted to start the season a little bit fresher. Felt he was tired coming into the season last year.
Tony Fisher going outside, slipped and is down. Urlacher was there, but Fisher initially lost his footing. No gain on the play with under 7 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Very quiet here if you've just joined us here at Lambeau Field, for good reason. The Bears lead the Packers 21-3 as the Bears look to end a 7-game winning streak by Green Bay. And they have totally dominated the Bears ever since Brett Favre became the quarterback. Two tight end alignment, 2nd down and 9. And the pass batted down at the line by Ogunleye. So it'll be 3rd down and long, and the 12th play of the drive coming up.
When you run this type of play action, you've got to get the end man on the line of scrimmage. You've got to get his hands down. William Henderson flashes in his face. Ahman Green comes up, but he doesn't get him to the ground. That gives Adewale Ogunleye the opportunity to get up and get his hands in the throwing lane. You got to cut that guy down so he can't jump up and bat the ball away.
3rd down and 9. Packers are 5 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. 2 for 2 on this drive. Favre operating out of the shotgun. Gets time, and the pass thrown underneath. Close for the 1st down to Tony Fisher.
Oh, he got a bad
spot. Maybe a yard. Yeah. Now the official marked it short. I know the yellow line is not official.
No, I was talking about the official where he spotted the ball.
I agree with you. I think Fisher was much closer to the sticks than the official gave him credit for.
Because he does a nice job of catching this ball.
71.
Here comes the U-71 package, but watch Tony Fisher when he catches this ball immediately north and south and splits the defense. I don't think his knee was down there. I think they should have given him the progress.
4th down and 1, and Kevin Barry is eligible. The U-71, as you pointed out. Number 71 on the right side. The pitch to Ahman Green, and Green gets the 1st down. He got tripped up, but gets to the 31-yard line with Mike Green making the play, picking up 4 more for Ahman.
You talk about confidence in your offensive line and running game. Here's Kevin Barry and that U-71 out there. They're going to toss a power sweep to the right. Look at that, the big man out there. You've got Bubba Franks at the tight end spot there, and you've got Nick Lucci pulling out there, but you are throwing the ball 5-6 yards back and stretching the defense, and this is an upfield penetrating defense with Brian Urlacher, one of the fastest middle linebackers in the league. That shows you the confidence that they have in this offensive line.
So a 1st down from the 31, and Brett Favre completes to the 25 to Javon Walker, picking up about 7 yards on the play. Very impressive drive by the Green Bay Packers with under 5 minutes to go and an injured Bear on the field. And it's Charles Tillman, the cornerback. So the Bears already thin with the loss of Jerry Azuma with neck surgery, and Lovie Smith is going to come on and check with Tillman. There's Charles Tillman, finally off on the field. Bobby Gray has gone in as an extra safety. It'll be 2nd down and 3 for the Packers on the Bears' 24-yard line. Tony Fisher is knocked down at the 25, may have lost a yard. Brian Urlacher, who's had a big game today. Biggest play was when he stripped Ahman Green of the football on the 3, and Mike Brown ran 95 yards for a touchdown before halftime.
And that's the gap control that Tony's talking about. You give the ball to Tony Fisher. They're running that counter play out to the right. They bring in Kevin Barry. They've got Bubba Franks blocking down, doing everything, but there's just nowhere to run for Tony Fisher. They've got everything controlled. You look right there. Hold your spot, and there's the Bears waiting for him.
Well, now the 16th play of this drive, and Tillman is back in at cornerback for the Bears. Short drop and the slant, and it's caught by Javon Walker for the 1st down beyond the 15-yard line. Tillman defending on the play, and a bang-bang play giving the Packers 1st down as they try to get back in this game, trailing 21-3. Hard to believe, Moose, that at 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the 3rd, the Green Bay Packers have yet to score a touchdown.
And they have made mistakes down here in the red zone. This is the area of the field where they have struggled. They have moved the ball well, but when they have gotten down here, the drive is stalled. They've had to kick a field goal. They hit the upright. They had the turnover.
Here's Green, nothing there, and it was Lance Briggs. And the crowd murmuring. You can hear the murmurs already up here. They have come to accept games against the Chicago Bears as another notch on the belt, another victory in their season.
But this is a different Bears team than the last several times they have faced each other. You talk to the guys and you can just hear the confidence. They have really connected with Lovie Smith and his staff and what they're trying to accomplish. They have really bought into his philosophy immediately.
2nd and 10 on the 16. And Favre up the middle, caught for the touchdown. Flag is down. Bubba Franks.
Could be offensive PI.
Bubba Franks on the receiving end and got very excited, spiking the ball, but it will be called back. Here's Bernie Kukar. You're right on it,
Pass
Darryl.
interference, 88 offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Gets called for the push-off.
Bubba Franks is a big man. When you get that open down in the red zone, you've done something. Here he is out here on the right side. He's going to go down, and I think you're going to get a little bit of a shove once he gets down there on Brian Urlacher. He initiates contact. You can see it right there up at the top. They bump into each other. Oh, I don't know. That wasn't as bad as it looked at first up here. It looked like Brian kind of hopped out of there a little bit.
Well, I will say this. We had the slow motion stop on it, and when you see the whole thing in regular motion, apparently the officials were right there. So there's Brett Favre, who standing a man alone here as the touchdown is nullified. So it'll be second down and 20 instead of a Packer touchdown. They have been stopped at the altar a couple of times already today. Out of the backfield, Tony Fisher trying to juke his way, and he is dropped at the 20-yard line by Brian Urlacher. And now for an update and a game break, whatever you want to call it, it's James Brown.
Falcons were up 17-7, Dick, but take a look. Mark Bulger pump fakes here, hooks up. Look at the adjustment by Torrey Holt. Nice adjustment indeed. He's got 7 catches, 90 yards on the afternoon, and it is now a 3-point game. Falcons nursing a 17-14 lead. Back to Dick Stockton.
All right, thank you very much, JB. So the Rams trying to win one on the road.
You know, the Rams they've started to lose players. They had that group together back in '99 when they won the Super Bowl. They got back there again, but a lot of those key components have departed from that team.
3rd and 13. Brett Favre getting time, going to a wide open Robert Ferguson, and no problem with that one. 18 yards for the touchdown. And the Green Bay Packers getting their first touchdown of the game.
The ability to be patient and confident in the arm strength. He releases on there. R.W. McQuarters beats him right away, and then Mike Brown is late getting over from the deep half safety position. And Brett Favre, I mean, we talk about it every year, all the time. I mean, look at the throw. He's looking to the other side of the field. He's looking in the middle and to the right. And then all of a sudden, his eyes catch Robert Ferguson, and it's a frozen rope to him.
Meanwhile, an injured Bear on the field is Mike Brown, the free safety. But let's pay this off first. A touchdown pass for Brett Favre. 27 consecutive games. And one behind Dave Craig. And Johnny Unitas has the record. But for the Bears, Mike Brown is shaken up. And we're going to take a break. So the Packers get a touchdown, getting their crowd back in the game. But Brown is hurt. And we'll take a timeout. And a lot of times you want to take the crowd out of a game. The crowd is back in as Mike Brown leaving the field on his own power after being shaken up in the end zone after the touchdown pass to Robert Ferguson. And Ryan Longwell looking for the extra point for the Packers' 10th point, and they have it. Very unusual for that long of a drive. 19 plays for the Green Bay Packers, and with 1:46 remaining in the third, they cut the lead to 11. And back here at Lambeau Field, Dick Stockton with the Moose, Darryl Johnson, the Goose, Tony Siragusa. And there you see the rookie Bernard Berrien from Fresno State, who will return this kick. Ryan Longwell will kick off for the Packers, who have cut the lead to 21-10. Berrien on the hot. Reverse? Nope. Turning the corner. And Pollard out of bounds at the 29-yard line by Jason Horton. So let's see what the Bears do to answer it. Let's go down to Tony. What do you see down there, Goose?
Well, I'm getting a great view from the end zone, especially, you know, we talk about people making adjustments. Brett Favre made an unbelievable adjustment. What he's doing now is he knows that the secondary of the Chicago Bears is making a fast break on him. So what he's doing is he's pump faking sometimes to try and go and get him to bite, and then his receiver is making another cut. And also on the touchdown play, he did a great job of looking to his right where there was no receiver, knowing that he had an open receiver on his left-hand side, turned through the bullet, scored a touchdown. That just goes to show you guys who have played in this league a long time can make adjustments to help you out.
He did it right there, and a flag is down as David Terrell, defended by Al Harris on first down. David Terrell, who has not been a factor after his first 100-yard receiving game last week in the loss to the Lions.
Holding, 31 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that's the point of emphasis for this year.
Yeah, the contact is all going to happen, you know, in the right area. It's going to be 5 yards, but you just can't grab the jersey. You see right there, he grabs him and turns and pulls him down. You know, if he doesn't do the grabbing and the holding, you know, that's fine. You can have the contact through that first 5 yards, but you can't get a hold of that jersey. That was the other big point of emphasis.
So the first down on the 29, and Anthony Thomas seeing his first action in the game. Thomas Jones getting a breather after picking up 116 yards rushing. Paris Lennon making the tackle on Thomas. No gain on the play as we have under a half a minute remaining in this third quarter. And for Brett Favre, that touchdown pass, finally, long time for him against the Bears. 25 touchdown passes, and that's the longest ever for a quarterback against an opponent, breaking Dan Marino's record against the New York Jets. He was tied with Marino before that last throw. And Grossman rolling out, has room, and the pass thrown underneath, caught by Bobby Wade. It will bring up third down and about 5 or 6 for the Bears in the waning seconds of this first quarter.
I like to see the adjustments by the coaches during the course of a game. And you remember in that first half, one of the things that Terry Shea was doing, the offensive coordinator right there for the Bears, was using misdirection and then booting out to the left or the right and bringing receivers across the field. And because of the Green Bay style of defense, which is so aggressive, we're creating some good throwing lanes and some open receivers. But on that play right there, Green Bay defense did very well.
And this is a big play as far as momentum in this game is concerned. Third down and 5. And the toss, unable to catch up to it, as Anthony Thomas would not have had the first down since the Packers were there. And if the momentum changes, the Bears will have to kick, and the Packers will go on offense once again with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
And it's not just getting the sack, it's putting the pressure on the quarterback, making him make a decision before he wants to and hurrying his throw. Right there, they had a receiver open in the flat, but because Nick Barnett was coming so quickly in his face, he's got to backpedal. He can't get the strength on the throw that he needed to complete it.
Antonio Chapman is back, and Brad Maynard with the punt. Chapman at the 23.
Ooh.
And clobbered at the 30-yard line. The Packers have not had outstanding returns as of late. That was a 7-yard return, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score 21-10, the Bears leading the Packers. And welcome back to Lambeau Field. You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in the world's finest high-definition standard. As we start the fourth quarter, Dick Stockton, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa on the field. The Packers trying to come back after trailing 21-3 to the Bears. Scored in their last possession on a 19-play drive. Will start from the 30-yard line, and Brett Favre connects for close to a first down to Donald Driver, and he
wasn't down.
Not down by contact, and now they say he was back at the 41, but he will collect the first down.
What a nice set by the Green Bay Packer offense. They overload the right side into a situation where it looks like they're definitely going to run that direction. They've got Bubba Franks. They've got David Martin. 71. They bring Nick Lucci over there. They motion him into the backfield, but everybody stays on that side. I mean, look at this over here. Here's all your big bodies. You've got to be thinking run to the right, and then they come back, throw the quick slant to the backside. That's where they get you. You know, that you're thinking one thing, and they have the ability to run and throw the ball very effectively.
From the 41, and there is Ahman Green, hemmed in, actually got another yard, but lost on the play. And good pursuit by Alex Brown, who put the initial pressure on. By the way, word about Mike Brown, the safety who had to come off the field and into the locker room. A heat-related cramps is the diagnosis, and he might be back. Todd Johnson has come in at free safety in his stead.
It could be the first time everybody's had heat-related cramps at Lambeau.
Well, it's like swim, you know, go in for a little dip. That's that kind of weather we have here. Unusual for any time.
It's been beautiful.
Beautiful. Second down and 12. 3 wide receivers. Tony Fisher there as well, and the throw to nobody in particular.
As two big plays right there by the Bear defense. The first one on that running play, just getting the penetration, forcing them to lose yardage, and then right there, miscommunication between Robert Ferguson and Brett Favre puts them in a 3rd and long.
3rd down and 12, Moose, you're right. And here's the situation. If the Packers want to get that momentum going, as they did with the touchdown and stopping the Bears.
Against Carolina Monday night, they converted a bunch of these. I mean, 3rd and 10 plus, they were 5 out of 6 on 3rd down, which is absolutely amazing.
They're 7 of 12 today, which is pretty good. And here is Favre as he flings it to Tony Fisher. Fisher looking for running room, and he is not going to make it as he is knocked out of bounds at the 46 by Charles Tillman. And it'll be 4th down coming up for the Packers. And if you're not going to panic and you're going to have patience on offense, you got to have it on the other side of the ball. And Brian Barker will come in to kick it away.
Good job by Tony Fisher setting up this screen. He invites the rushers in. Watch this right here. He invites them in, steps to the side, gets the screen, but there must have been a lot of noise on the field because I don't think Marco Rivera hears the go call. When you get in that screen, you got to let the offensive lineman know you've got the ball, and that thing looked like it could have been a bigger play.
Ball will bounce into the end zone for the touchback. 53-yard punt by veteran Brian Barker. Rookie B.J. Sander couldn't cut it. Barker is in there. He got the job. And there you see the fans normally bundled up, but not today on a glorious Sunday in Green Bay. It has everything beautiful except the scoreboard for the Packer fans and a lot of Bear fans here as well. Chicago taking over on the 20 early here in the 4th quarter. Grossman's pass complete, and 1st down to the tight end Desmond Clark. And for a game break, let's return to James Brown in LA.
Hey, Dick, take a look at Jake Delhomme being picked off for the 2nd time today by Eric Warfield. He takes it back 43 yards. It was intended for Ricky Proehl. Instead, Warfield with a touchdown, 17-14 KC over Carolina. Back to Dick Stockton.
Boy, a nip and tough game, JB, in Kansas City. A very tough home crowd. Carolina trying to come back. And on the fake end around, the handoff to Anthony Thomas. And this is the 3rd series that Thomas has been in since Thomas Jones went over 100 yards. 6-yard pickup that time. As you look at next week's Sunday schedule.
This is the first time I think we played in Green Bay and didn't talk about Bratz.
Well, let's talk about him, Goose.
Now, I was just really impressed by Green Bay's training table there when we had a meeting with him on Friday.
When it comes to food, we serve it up to you first. 2nd down and 4. And this is going to be another fake on the end around, and Anthony Thomas has a 1st down. Moose, it looked like identical plays back-to-back, gets 8 and a 1st down to the 46.
Yeah, Anthony Thomas, kind of a forgotten man in this offense, but you know, he's your offensive rookie of the year. Just a couple of years ago, there's Thomas Jones on the sideline. Doesn't appear to be anything wrong with Thomas Jones, just giving Anthony Thomas some time. And he's taking advantage of it. He's running really well right now. Anthony
Thomas, good receiver out of the backfield as well, as is Jones, who has gained 116 yards today and has scored a touchdown. 1st down on the 46, and there is Thomas slipping a little bit and picking up close to 5 yards in any event as he gets into Packer territory. Well, Green Bay likes to have Ahman Green fresh when they get into the red zone. They'll let Tony Fisher and, you know, last week before he got hurt, Najee Davenport do some work from the 30 to the 30. You know, maybe Lovie Smith and Terry Shea want Thomas Jones as fresh as he can be when they get deep into the 4th quarter, so giving him a little bit of a spell right now with Anthony Thomas. 2nd down and 5. Wade, the wide receiver, in motion. And this time Thomas is going to be thrown for a loss. A big defensive play by Colin Jenkins. And a loss of 4 yards on the play. Good penetration from the defensive line that time for the Packers, bringing up 3rd down and 9. Great penetration, but he also makes the tackle. Sometimes you see a guy get back there and disrupt the play, but not have the ability to finish it out. And he beats Steve Edwards right across his face with the penetration and then makes the tackle himself. 3rd down and 9, and Grossman will go into the shotgun. And the pass out of bounds. He got flags down. a false start penalty will be called against the Bears.
False start, 76 option. There is no penalty here because the play was dead.
So John Tate, former Kansas City Chief who mans right tackle for the Bears, not agreeing with that call. So 5 yards stepped off will create 3rd and 14, and that is the first penalty against the Bears. Last week they committed 15. The 3 were declined. 12 penalties, an incredible amount, including 3 personal fouls. And Lovie Smith told us yesterday that will never happen again. I don't know about that, but maybe 3 personal foul. 3rd down and 14. And Grossman gets hit, and it is ruled an incompleted pass. The official, the referee, indicated it was an incomplete pass. That was his initial call. And now it is ruled a fumble, and the Packers recover. It was K'Rell Trueluck who forced the fumble.
That's the big play that Green Bay needed to go and get the momentum turned around. The stadium looks like it lightened up a little bit. Looks like they're back in the game.
Well, you know that this is going to get challenged. I think Rex Grossman's arm is going forward. I mean, this is, as Tony pointed out, this is a critical play in the game. You got to throw the red flag.
I was watching the referee behind the line.
He initially signaled.
And he initially signaled that it would be an incomplete pass. He did not say, signal that it was a free ball, and now we're going to have the challenge right now.
I mean, you have to. It's like Tony pointed out. This is the huge momentum-changing play. I mean, you've got to throw the red flag out there because of the indecision with the whole play. Initially, Bernie Kukar signaling incomplete. Here he is right here. We'll see if we can keep him in frame. You'll see as he walks in, he started. Oh, we're going to lose him. But I think that Rex Grossman's arm is going forward. That's an incomplete pass. K'Rell Trueluck, the guy putting on the pressure, he's been a nice find for the Green Bay Packers. Been very productive in a number of areas.
Chicago is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble. They feel it was an incomplete pass.
What about this play? Chicago. Okay, I won't quote you, but I'll need that, okay? Thank you. We'll be right back.
Cold hard fact. Other beers are shipped warm in trucks. Coors Light is always shipped cold. Why? Because we know you love cold beer.
And there is Bernie Kukar, who is reviewing the play, and it's Lovie Smith who's challenging. And you're right on the money, because this could be a momentum-changing call if it's turned over to the Green Bay Packers. But Kukar has seen enough and will give his verdict. Trueluck making the big play, creating the possible turnover.
Well, it looks like the Bears are pretty happy on the sideline. I don't know if he told them before he's going to announce it, but
After reviewing the play, it is an incomplete pass. The quarterback's arm was going forward. It is 3rd down, and we're going to put 9:31 on the scoreboard clock. 9:31.
So it'll be 4th down and a punting situation. You saw Rex Grossman already over on the sideline wearing the baseball cap, win or lose on that call, as it turned out.
He had a lot of confidence it was going his way.
It is 4th down.
So 4th down, and Brad Maynard will kick, and Antonio Chapman goes back deep.
Up to the Green Bay special teams unit now to try and get back close to where that ball would have been. You missed the call there, but hey, let's get back up. We still got it right now. We're getting the ball back right now. Have the punt team come out, go after it, pressure the punter, or set up a nice return, establish some good field position.
And a good high kick, and a hang time of 5 seconds, and it bounces on the goal line and goes into the end zone for the touchback. That was all said and done, including the roll, a 58-yard punt by Maynard. So the Packers will get it back on the 20. Packers break the huddle at the 20-yard line. Mike Brown, the free safety who went out with heat-related cramps to the locker room, is back on the field. 9:21 remaining in the fourth quarter. And play action pass and going deep for Javon Walker. And overthrown, well covered downfield, looking for a flag and none coming, as Mike Brown and Charles Tillman were with him step for step.
Green Bay Packers not being patient opening up this series. They're trying to hit a home run right there, but the Bears again in great position. He's looking for the flag. I thought he was going to be looking for some aspirin after this one, because as he gets stretched out, here comes Mike Brown right in there. Puts a big hit on him, finishing that one up. And maybe you should give him just something on that play. That was...
Walker's saying, I thought you went in there with heat cramps. What are you doing?
Look like you're cramping to me.
Second down and 10. Tony Fisher now the back, and he starts in motion. Favre gets time, and going downfield, Ferguson, and he can't hold on. He had it and dropped it, and defended downfield by Bobby Gray. Looked like a pass that he could catch.
Well, he looked like he kept his eyes on it. You watch, there's 89. Now watch right here. The only thing I can think of is the little flash by Bobby Gray right there as he goes to get his hands up, distracts Robert Ferguson. Right at the last second, he puts his hands up.
I think you're right. So 3rd and 10. So the Packers from the 20, they're in the fourth quarter trailing by 11. 2 scores if you count making a 2-point conversion. But 2 passes, netting nothing. And now Favre gets hit. And incomplete is the ruling now. And Lance Briggs, you talked about that weak side linebacker, such an important force in this defense.
You got to expect a blitz in a situation like that. 3rd and long, what you're trying to do is force them to break off their route short. You're bringing too many guys. There's Lance Briggs right there moving into the middle. He's going to come right at the last. You can't, Amon Green cannot get there. He just could not get there. He's a little slow getting up. I think they were trying to set up a screen, but you can't turn your blitzer loose on a screen. You've got to at least block him.
Low kick by Barker. R.W. McQuarters. And the fair catch called by McQuarters at the 40-yard line. The Bears will have good field position, maybe their best from a punt all day, with under 9 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter, leading 21-10. It's been that kind of a day as the Bears defense, and Lovie Smith told us yesterday they're going to have to carry us early on, and right now they've limited the vaunted Packers to only 1 touchdown.
And they've generated a touchdown themselves with the strip by Brian Urlacher and the scoop by Mike Brown for the 95-yard touchdown. So really not only shutting Green Bay down, but also getting some points for the Bear team.
Thomas Jones is rested and back in the lineup for Chicago, and gets the call on first down and picks up a couple. In case you're wondering, the Bears are averaging just under 7 yards an attempt rushing. And of course, a lot of that could have to do with the fact that Grady Jackson out with a dislocated kneecap. A very big run defender replaced in this game.
Also this aggressive style of Green Bay's defense. You get on that same level and you get a guy picked up, you create a little scene. We saw Thomas Jones do it twice. He breaks that initial wave of defenders and there's nobody there. And they've ripped off a couple of big runs in the running game.
So James Lee, the nose tackle today, 2nd down and 6. Grossman on the rollout, looking to run, and he'll get the first down as he slides for the first down. Last week he didn't slide. This week he does, and here he is, his debut in Lambeau Field. And tell you, look at a guy who awed playing against some of these teams he's faced in the NFL.
Yeah, but this is one of the things that Lovie Smith wants him to work on, and Terry Shea. He took a lot of hits last week at the end of the runs trying to get some extra yardage. You got to be smart. He's got enough yards for the first down. Get yourself down, protect yourself, live to play another day. Last week, quarterbacks aren't the guys that are supposed to move the pile at the end of the run.
First down, as you look at the offensive leaders crossing the screen. The ball is at midfield, and the handoff to Jones. Jones picking up about 3 yards on first down, with Barnett making the tackle. Rex Grossman grew up as watching the NFL on TV, and he said that last year when he was playing a team like the Minnesota Vikings, he couldn't believe he was playing against an NFL club, lives in Evanston, Illinois. His fiance going to school in that northwestern area. She's transferred to DePaul, so he'll move downtown. And Cledius Hunt just wants to move without pain right now.
And another thing that Rex Grossman did on the end of that run, when he slid, he stayed in bounds to keep the clock moving, because Green Bay is missing. They're losing out right now because they can't get this Bear offense off the field. They obviously need 2 possessions.
There's the game stats right now as Hunt comes off the field.
The Bears are winning 1 stat, and that's on that board right now, and it's the most important one to score, and that's what Lovie Smith talks about.
Right.
He goes, the most important thing is points, but you look everywhere else, Green Bay has the advantage, and that shows you the importance of the turnovers, the point that he was trying to get to his guys. You know, we've got to find a way to generate more turnovers, to create better field position, and that fumble return for the touchdown, the biggest turning point in this game, because as you pointed out, it's going to be 10-7 Green Bay. All of a sudden, it's 14-3 Bears.
Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it's all about. And 2 turnovers. Mike Green with the interception, Mike Brown with the fumble recovery for a touchdown. So this secondary thin with injury, but not in the safety position. So coming off the field is Cledius Hunt, replaced by Colin Jenkins. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Bears on the Packer 47. Here's Jones. Bounces off the defender, dives close to the 1st down, and appears to have it at the 40.
At this point, he'd probably like to be a little bit short. Get yourself another play. Well, take some more time off the clock.
They're going to measure.
I've really been impressed with the Bear running game. They have done a great job handling this pressure. Also the passing game. It has been a good plan by Terry Shea. They in the beginning, they're moving the pocket. They're doing different things to keep the Packer defense off balance. They've been able to hit those runs that Lovie Smith said they were going to have to. They had to break some big runs to slow down this pressure, and they have really executed well for a group that's really in only its 2nd game of this new offensive system.
And Terry Shea said, I was looking for a running back. I had Priest Holmes, and so he likes Thomas Jones, and who wouldn't with going over 100 yards. Wanted a tight end. He thinks he has that in Desmond Clark.
And he says he doesn't need that big receiver. He said in Kansas City, you know, we never had that dominant guy on the outside. We utilized Tony Gonzalez and Priest Holmes. And, you know, so when you look at this offense and you don't see that, to him it's not a problem.
Well, you said maybe they're better off not getting the 1st down. They didn't. So it's 3rd down and inches.
But now they have to get it.
Yeah. After the clock was stopped, and here is Thomas Jones, 1st down.
That's too easy.
And 6:25 and running. 1st down Bears, and now for a game break, let's once again check in with James Brown.
Dick, 2 fumbles by Clinton Portis led to Giants scores. Portis trying to make up on the receiving into that 13-yard laser from Patrick Ramsey, although he was called for taunting with that spike right there. But Washington within 6-20, 14 Giants. Back to Dick Stockton.
Joe Gibbs against the Giants, and that NFC coaching Hall of Fame in so many ways, as far as many of them. Of course, Tom Coughlin right now is on the outs, you would have to say. 1st down on the 36-yard line. Here is Thomas Jones as he gets inside the 35-yard line, a gain of 3. So, in his 20th carry of the game, Thomas Jones has 137 yards.
Yeah, and we need to pay some credit to the Chicago Bears offensive line because of the ability to run the way you just talked about, the stats with Thomas Jones. But also, right now in this drive, the Green Bay Packer defense knows what the Bears have to do. They have to run the ball to take time off the clock, and they can't stop them. The Bears are imposing their will on these guys.
Averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Backs up what you're saying. Cledius Hunt back in the game at tackle. 2nd down and 7, and on the end around, Bobby Wade cutting upfield. Another 1st down for the Bears inside the 25-yard line, picking up 10 yards. Huge chunks of yards for the Chicago Bears almost every play.
Darren Sharper reads this. He puts himself in a position to make the play. Here comes the reverse. There's Bobby Wade right there. There's Darren Sharper, 42, stepping up. That's just a good individual effort. He makes 2 guys miss on the outside. He makes Darren Sharper overcommit, and then he beats Al Harris back across his face. The Green Bay defense does a good job snuffing this play out, but that's a great individual effort by Bobby Wade.
Boy, the Bears are throwing everything at the Packers and using everybody. Look at this 7-0 rushing to passing, and now make it 8 as Jones cutting to the outside, inside the 15, diving for perhaps another 1st down, chased by Michael Hawthorne. And a 9-yard gain as you look at the clock, which stops with 4:16 to go on a Green Bay timeout. the Bears are manhandling the Packers.
They really are. I mean, they know what is coming. They know they're running the ball to take time off the clock, and they cannot stop this Bear offense.
Guys, you got to give a lot of credit to Thomas Jones. I'm standing here in the end zone, probably 80 yards behind him, and I don't see the hole, but he's finding them 5 yards deep. It's amazing. He actually goes where there's no hole, knowing that his offensive line is going to make something, and he finds that crease, and he's just been getting yardage all day just like that.
Goose, how do you figure this game? Packers against the defending NFC champions on the road Monday night. Almost a perfect game. And now they come home to play the Bears, who they've handled, and the Bears are doing it to Green Bay. Amazing.
I'll tell you what, Lovie Smith said it. He said, you know, if enough people tell you you're good, you start believing it, and that's when you really got to start worrying. And I think that's what happened to Green Bay this week. They had a perfect game on Monday night. Everyone's telling them how great they are, the greatest offensive line. You got Brett Favre. They had all the right ingredients, but the Bears just came out here and they were ready to play.
2nd down and 2. And here's Jones, 1st down. Penalty flag is down, and Jones tackled from behind by Nick Rogers, but there's a flag down. Bears have committed only 1 penalty today.
We have 2 flags, 74 of the offense. That one is accepted. 79 of the offense. That penalty is declined. 10 yards, still 2nd down.
Take your pick. Ruben Brown, Steve Edwards, both holding on the play.
Wonder what makes you decide which one you're going to take. And why do you take Ruben Browns over Steve Edwards?
You don't like Ruben. Well, you know, what about the return to this great rivalry? In the recent years, Dave Wannstedt 1-11 against the Packers. Dick Giron was 2-8. Lovie Smith on the threshold of being 1-0, although we still have 4:09 to go.
Put that together with his comments that he made the opening, the day he got the job in Chicago.
And the end around to David Terrell. Fumbles the ball. And the Packers have it. Packers have it. And it's Nick Barnett who finally picked it up and ran it a few yards. And a big break for the Green Bay Packers. So let's not have a coronation yet for the Chicago upstart team. Turnover.
There is an inexperienced team, a team that's still trying to learn how to win a football game right there. David Terrell, the only thing you can't do is fumble the ball. He doesn't have that ball put away. Michael Hawthorne does a great job. Here comes Nick Barnett. If he doesn't stumble, I thought he was going to go all the way. John Tate, great hustle by you, because that is 7 points for the Green Bay Packers.
And you wonder, you know, hate to second guess, but an end around when you're just trying to control the ball.
Ford Expedition, the first to introduce all of the firsts. First-in-class safety canopy system. First-in-class independent.
David Terrell, the one thing that he has to do is become more consistent in his play. You look at what he did last week, just a career day, breakout. He's trying to get back with Lovie Smith to be a part of this offense. Last play, the first time he got to touch the ball today, he got sloppy with ball security and put it on the ground in a critical situation.
So now the Packers on their own 47-yard line, needing a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal. And this pass off the hands of Donald Driver. He had to leap high for it. And 2nd and 10 coming up. He was covered by Mike Green downfield, and an injured Bear, and it's Mike Brown.
I think he's cramping again. It's in his calf this time.
So not an injury, but an effects of the. Look at Carolina leading Kansas City 28-17 early in the 4th.
What a great job by Carolina in that game.
And the Indianapolis Colts leading Tennessee. Big game next week will be the Colts and these Packers. Second half of our doubleheader on Fox next week. Favre against Manning.
Look at Detroit, keeping it rolling.
Trying to go 2-0 for the first time in a million years.
We have to get that. We have to get that. When was the last time Detroit was 2-0? We'll get the guys working on that for you.
I think George Halas might have been coaching. Hey, Tone.
What's up, guys? I'm standing over here, a guy who doesn't need any introduction, Don Mikowski. Now, Don has been on the sideline with me for about an hour telling me how he was the last quarterback to play, and he got hurt in 1992. And who stepped in for you, Don?
13 years ago, the 3rd game of the season against Cincinnati, I went down with an ankle injury. Brett Favre came in, threw the winning touchdown, and he hasn't missed a game since in 13 years. It's an unbelievable streak, an unbelievable accomplishment.
See, so guys should know, if you get hurt, try and make a quick recovery, or the guy will take your job, and you'll never work again. Back to you guys.
Don Majkowski, alias Wally Pip, so to speak. Meanwhile, the Chicago Cubs leading or beat Cincinnati 5-1, which of course is interest to our fans in Chicago. Mike Brown still having his problems. And speaking of baseball, I'll tell you what, it's been unpredictable. You can't script it. It's provided some of the great moments in sports. October 5th, Fox Sports begins a month-long journey starting with the Division Series and brings you exclusive coverage of the Championship Series and culminates with the World Series and the crowning of a champion. The drama begins October 5th right here on Fox. What a jewel of a year it is for Fox Sports. But the World Series, as always, and this year the Super Bowl in Jacksonville.
Well, they got the card out there now for Mike Brown. I was hoping that it was just more the cramping that he had gone out of the game with earlier.
Chicago fans are going to be really excited if they pull this game off.
Woo. Well, there's almost 4 minutes to go. You got Brett Favre on the other side of the line of scrimmage. They can't be celebrating yet.
No, I tell you what, you can't with 2 scores and 2 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning.
Before that fumble, you're thinking that the Bears at least have a field goal. They're
right.
At least going to push it to 24-10. Now you're 2 possessions and you have to have 2 touchdowns, but that fumble was huge. It's giving Green Bay good field position right now.
And you can see Favre and the rest of the Packers around Mike Brown.
So we were talking about the food at the Green Bay Packers facility.
Here's Mike Brown right here. We'll follow him through on this play, but he went out earlier with cramps. And, you know, he kind of gets over towards where Brett Favre is and just kind of pulls up. He was never really hit by anybody. It doesn't appear that he got injured. And if he's cramping, if this is his second time, you know, if he stands up, his whole body may lock up. So the reason for the card, hopefully, is just to get him off, get him some fluids.
There's you saw the helmet there with the number 40, the decal.
They got his ankle wrapped up, though.
Yeah, this is not a heat problem. There's the number 40. As you know, the day in the NFL dedicated to Pat Tillman, the great hero who was killed in Afghanistan while fighting for this country. Former Cardinal defensive back, and everyone wearing a number 40 decal on the helmet today, and the Cardinals will wear it starting today for the rest of the season. There it is. Right now, for a game break, let's go back out to LA and James Brown.
All right, Dick, take a look at Carolina. Deshaun Foster filling in extremely ably for the injured Stephen Davis. Take a look at this run here, 71 yards. You know what? He's got a career high in carries and yards, 25 for 163, and he takes it in for the score. Ultimately, 28-17, Carolina over Kansas City. Back to Dick Stockton.
All right, thank you very much, JB. So Mike Brown has been carted off. 95-yard fumble touchdown return. The key play of the game today. It is 2nd down and 10. Brett Favre trying to bring the Packers closer, and this pass is overthrown and intercepted by Bobby Gray. And Bobby Gray returning it into Packer territory. You know, you talk about that 4th and 26 nightmare, and this was a pick. Center fielder all the way was Gray.
Yeah, this one just floated on Brett right here. He's got Bubba Franks right there in the middle of the field. You see how open he is. He just sails it over his head, and Bobby Gray just coming in for Mike Brown. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, hey, go after 25. He's just coming in deep. He's playing deep half. Take a shot at him, and he comes up making the play.
That's what you would think. And Lovie Smith said, we know that Brett Favre is going to put some up there. We've got to make sure we make that interception, 2nd of the game, and a big one, and could be a backbreaker, of course, as Gray returns at 31 yards, and the Bears on the Green Bay 36-yard line with 3:44 to go. Some of the fans start to make their way toward the exits. And here is the handoff to Thomas Jones. And Jones, adding to his total, picks up nearly 5 yards on the play. So Thomas Jones, everyone talks about Ahman Green, who has had a terrific day for the Green Bay Packers, but everyone now talking about what Thomas Jones has done, Darryl.
Well, you know, you talk about a guy who maybe just wasn't in the right system for whatever reason, never lived up to his potential. But Terry Shea knew about Thomas Jones when he was at Kansas City, and he was excited. He was leading the parade to bring him to Chicago, and you can see why. He has had a great afternoon running the football for the Chicago Bears. He gives them that big play threat from the running back position. Not only the running game, but he's a very effective receiver too. And if you are going to be the featured running back in this system, you have got to be able to contribute catching the ball out of the backfield. Priest Holmes has been the leading receiver in this offense in Kansas City the last 3 years. They feel very comfortable with Thomas Jones' skills fitting the featured back position in this offense.
Certainly, and their defense, though, they said they've got to carry us, and the defense has today. 2nd and 6. And on the rollout is Grossman, and he slides at the 30-yard line for a couple of yards. Paris Lennon making the tackle. Mistakes by the Green Bay Packers have helped do them in. A lot of them because of the Chicago Bears forcing them.
Well, they had the one right here where the field goal goes up and hits the upright. You know, Green Bay was moving the ball. The interception right there by Mike Green, but, you know, not a big mistake. Here's the killer right here. It's going to be 10-7 Green Bay, and all of a sudden it's 14-3 Chicago. And then that last play, Green Bay was able to recover a fumble on the end around and get some good field position, needing 2 possessions, and they turn the ball back over to the Chicago Bears.
And the turnover story, Green Bay turning it over 3 times. Meanwhile, the Packers calling timeouts on the last 2 plays are now out of timeouts as Lovie Smith looks up at the scoreboard and knows he is 3 minutes and 29 seconds away from his first victory as an NFL head coach. And Mike Sherman knows what it's like, and he agonizes whenever the team loses in Green Bay and Lambeau Field and the fans go home unhappy. 3rd down and 4. Here's Thomas Jones, who'll be stopped short of the 1st down.
Well, how prophetic was he on Friday, saying that, you know, when people come to Lambeau Field, we always get their best effort. We don't catch somebody having a bad game. And in Chicago, after watching them play against Detroit last week at home, you know, they're turning the ball over, making critical mistakes, an opportunity to win the game at the end, and they throw into double coverage. And for them to come up here and play the way they have, it's exactly what Mike Sherman said. We get everybody's best effort when they come to Lambeau.
He took the best shot today, and what a shot it was. I got to say, very impressed with what the future of the Bears is. And Paul Ettinger will attempt the 45-yard field goal.
And the problem right here last week against Detroit.
And Ettinger hooks that one way off to the left.
You know, that's huge right there. I mean, it makes it a 2-possession game still, but the field position #1 and the fact that 2 touchdowns now wins the game for you, or a touchdown with a 2-point conversion in the field goal.
They're out of timeouts. That will hurt the Packers. They do get a break with the 2-minute warning coming up at 2:28. Ettinger, who really finished in hardly a blaze of glory last year, and for a while in preseason, there was some thought that maybe Ettinger would not keep his job as the place kicker. And there you see in the pregame pushing that field goal attempt in the same direction that he just kicked it. This time he hooked it.
Is that the old double cross, Dick?
Got it right, I got it left, like the U.S. Ryder Cup effort. Here's the pass out of the backfield to Ahman Green, and Lance Briggs making the tackle after a 7-yard pickup. I'm just talking about where the shots went over the weekend.
Chicago Bears will be more than content to give up passes into the middle of the field and come up and make tackles.
That one is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. And it was Tank Johnson. There are a lot of players named Johnson in the National Football League. And the rookie from the University of Washington says, I don't want to be just another guy named Johnson. So his first name short enough to put on. And his shoulders are wide enough to put it on.
I think the big thing is his shoulders are wide enough.
Right, that's true. 3rd down and 3. A couple of visiting teams, the 49ers and the Panthers, leading in the 4th quarter. Same can be said about the Colts, who play the Packers next week. That'll be a great game on Fox. Second half of our doubleheader. 3rd and 3. Favre's pass caught by Javon Walker. and goes out of bounds, stops the clock at 2:03. It's a first down for Green Bay, just shy of midfield with Tillman on the hit.
You never can relax, and the one thing that Chicago is going to do during this process with Lovie Smith is learn how to finish games, learn how to close them out. You know, coming on the road and being able to win here is huge, but they've got to finish this game. You know, they've had 2 opportunities now to really kind of put the game away and be able to relax and enjoy the last few seconds, the last few minutes, and they haven't done that. You still have a sense of uneasiness with the position that Brett Favre has got the Packers in.
Putting pressure on Brett Favre, and the pass caught by Donald Driver. Driver just snatched the ball away from the defender and gets down to the 36-yard line. And it was Bobby Gray, the defender, and a pickup of 16 yards, first down, and the 2-minute warning here at Lambeau.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Sprint PCS Picture Mail. It's easy for football fans to shoot, send, and share football moments.
Oh, Ben. Wow. You know that you went over your macaroni minutes this month? So those overage charges come to $49.
Now there's a better way to buy wireless. The Sprint PCS Fair and Flexible plan adjusts every month so you can save up to $300 a year.
No guesswork, no overage penalties.
Good. Sprint PCS. See how much you can save.
Thank you for bringing me.
Isn't that beautiful?
I've got an eligible beer in the cooler on Hector. Less taste, very unmacho. Replacing with great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Half the carbs of Bud Light. Wow. We've also got a disproportionately hot girlfriend. I will need further review.
Hi there.
I think I could.
Oh, please.
Hey, Tina.
Oh.
Miller, good call. So just when I'm thinking, isn't there a car out there I could get excited about? Wham! There's this car with all this stuff. Then as I'm thinking, now here's a car I could see myself in. Wham! There's this other car with all this stuff. And just as I'm thinking, how could this possibly get any sweeter?
The Mazda 3 and Mazda 3 5-door. The wait is over. Now arriving daily. Rethink what's possible.
Well, that young lady will stay afloat, no question about that. The 2-minute warning, the score is 21-10, but you know what? You can't count out Brett Favre, even though this is the last timeout or break that they will have. There's always the onside kick if they score and if they make the 2-point conversion.
A lot of ifs, a lot of ifs in there, but you know,
right.
Chicago had a chance to take away some of those ifs. They convert the field goal, then it's got to be 2 touchdowns. They've just had a chance to kind of make this a little bit more enjoyable for them at the end, and they haven't been able to close it out.
No, they got to sweat it out. 1st and 10 for the Packers at the Bear 36. Showing blitz is Chicago, and here they come. And Brett Favre answers it with a completed pass to Robert Ferguson. Ferguson getting in the 15 and does not get out of bounds. And the clock continues to run. A 22-yard pickup, beating Charles Tillman, so it's hurry-up time for number 4.
One good thing Charles Tillman did there is he got him down to the ground before he got out of bounds.
That was a big play. First down on the 13. And here is Favre. Here's that pump fake going into the end zone. Incomplete. Closest man to it was Javon Walker, who, by the way, today has 7 catches for 102 yards. Very quietly having a huge day.
He is becoming the big play guy on the outside for the Green Bay Packers. Donald Driver had a breakout year a couple of years ago. But Javon Walker, he seems to be the guy that is becoming the big playmaker on the outside. Even with Robert Ferguson and Donald Driver really getting the starts each week, it's Javon Walker, that 3rd receiver that everybody has to worry about.
And Gray Rugemer is the center, the veteran Mike Flanagan, who's had knee tendonitis, not in there right now. And here is Brett Favre. And Favre gets it over to Donald Driver, who does stop the clock, getting out of bounds at the 11-yard line. 2-yard pickup with 1:21 on the clock. So it's amazing how this crowd is quiet as it is, knowing that the Packers are in position to really make a run before this one's over.
You wonder if the Packers have been into it emotionally as players all day today, but then also the fans. You know, they have not really been into it, and that is a huge credit to the Bears to be able to come to this environment and really take the crowd out of it for pretty much the entire game. It's been 3 quarters of really peace and solitude up here at Lambeau Field.
Even when the Packers are in position to really challenge and get back in the game. The pass is dropped by Driver. And that'll bring up 4th down. And, of course, the Packers have a choice. They can go for the 3 now, try the onside kick. They still need the 8 points, or try to get the touchdown now. The surer thing would be the 3, but no indication of that from Mike Sherman.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of going for the 3 because you have to have 2 possessions anyways. You have to recover the onside kick and come back and get another score. If you miss this, it's all over with. So at least you extend the game to the onside kick. And, yeah, you have to go get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, but you're still alive.
4th down and 8. They can get a 1st down without getting a touchdown. And here is Brett Favre being chased and flings the ball away incomplete. That was a coverage sack if there ever was one. Brian Urlacher gets the Favre, but he had no one to go to. And the Chicago Bears seemingly will hold on, but there's a penalty flag down right where Favre was hit.
Intentional grounding.
Yes, intentional grounding as Favre was headed down and just...
Intentional grounding, number 4 of the offense. That's also loss of down.
So
First
that will
down, Chicago.
Give the Bears the ball, and no timeouts left for Green Bay. And here's the rush.
Well, Chicago's not going to sit back. They're going to bring a little bit of pressure right here. I agree with the call. It's 4th down. Force them. You would think that in this situation a lot of people would go back and play coverage, but they get the pressure necessary. Brett Favre does not have the time to get there to find his receiver open. As you pointed out, if there's a definition of a coverage sack, that was probably it right there, because he had nowhere to go with the ball. You look at the top of the screen.
Be good, guys. Be good.
He's going to the right.
Good.
You know, somebody had to get open on the right side of the field for Brett Favre to be able to pick him up.
All right, and now they're going to just chew up the time. And let's go back to the beginning of the game. This is how it all started today when the Bears played the Packers. Let's go back.
Looking at our goals for the program. The number one goal we'll have is to beat Green Bay.
And that's what the Chicago Bears are about to do.
Easy to say, difficult to follow through and do, especially with the history they've had over the last 10 seasons.
Today's game produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman, the associate director Charles McDonald. Sideline producer Jacob Ullman, the broadcast associates Wayne Wilson and Michael Thompson, the technical producer Bob Mueller. The pregame show was produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons, senior producer Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Thanks to our crew up here, Chris Visser and Rick Odioso and Mike Eldridge and Charlie Dameyer. The Chicago Bears have ended a 7-game losing streak. They defeated the Green Bay Packers. Lovie Smith's first win as an NFL head coach at Lambeau Field. A stunner here, and the final score 21-10 in favor of the Bears as we send it to James Brown in LA.
Welcome to the SB